All right, good evening, everyone. I see 7:02. Sorry for the 2-minute delay. We had a little technical difficulties over here with our sound again. But let's start tonight's meeting off with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Turn my phone down. All right. Well, once again, good evening to everyone. It is July 20th. This is our Town of Pitkin regular meeting, the Board of Trustee and Board of Health meeting tonight. Starting the meeting at looks like 7:03. We're going to jump right in. A little bit of an agenda tonight, but I'd like to welcome everybody in person. We have a few people out on Zoom. It's funny this time of the year how the roles reverse. In the winter, we have a lot of people on Zoom and a couple people in-house. And now that summer's here and we're going to enjoy Pitkin together, we have much more people in person. So welcome everyone for our meeting tonight. We're going to try to roll things right along. So we're going to start right off with the meeting minutes from June 15th and June 22nd special meeting. So I don't know if Corey and Jara have both had an opportunity to review those. I myself did as well. While they're reviewing, I will state that Jara is present, Corey is present, myself is present. So we do have a quorum. And we do have our town attorney on Zoom as well. So we welcome Hillary to our meeting. So minutes, any updates to the minutes from anyone? So
I didn't see anything materially or, grammatically or anything in the regular meeting minutes. I did see under the special meeting, it was just a slight misspelling, that's all. Probably matter.
Like Colt?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Right, yeah.
That was all I really saw.
Jared, do you have anything?
I didn't catch anything, just the yellow lines.
Oh,
Must have been garbled or something on the recording.
and that was, I meant to go back and check it too, but I didn't. That was on page, second to last page.
Where it just didn't pick up on.
Yeah, I apologize.
Okay. And if I can get to my minute or my agenda from last. Okay, that was on K. Okay, on K, so I have, the motion was by Jesse, or Jared, I'm sorry, and second, nope, sorry, I'm on the wrong one. A resolution of the Board of Trustees. Yeah. Okay, that was Corey made the motion and I seconded it.
Okay.
And then it did pass in favor 3-0.
Thank you so much. I listened to that portion probably 15 times, just trying to make sure that I wasn't missing something, and I didn't hear it in there at all. So I'm so glad you take such thorough notes, Mayor. Thank you.
I was in panic because I couldn't find this until about an hour ago, and then I forgot. Couldn't find it because I couldn't figure out where I put it, and it was right where I should have put it. All right. Anything else? And anything else on the special meeting minutes?
Nope.
Okay. All right. I'd entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as amended.
This is Jarrett, and I'll second it for, that motion was for both meetings, I'm assuming.
Yes, for both minutes.
So we've got a motion from Corey, a second from Jerry to accept the minutes as amended. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. July 2026 disbursements and financials.
Let me just state for everyone here, I've been having trouble with the town laptop. That's why I have my son's laptop here tonight. And I was late preparing the treasurer report, so they are not online, but they are up here if you guys want a hard copy of those. Apologies. I only have 10 copies of each, so that's why I just kind of figured like whoever.
So let's start with, I know it's backwards in what's on the agenda, but let's talk about the financials, I guess, first, the balance. Is there any questions on the balance sheet?
I don't know that any particularly stood out to me, but
I didn't really have anything on the balance sheet. I don't know if James or Lois are online. I think they're gone. But just so we all know, and for sure Lois knows, and I've talked to her, that we are still doing some forensics on the cemetery fund and tracking down. It's all there, and we just want to make sure that it's all, there's a transfer of checking many years ago, Lois said, and she had a question about it, and so we're working on it.
Sounds good.
And
Close.
I think that would come more, I have some questions on the budget versus actuals as well. But I just want to hit the balance. If we're okay on the balance sheet first,
Yes.
then I do have some questions on the budget versus actuals. Questions and some comments. First one is on the first page under the HUTF income. So we were on a short hold on HUTF income, and that has started coming in. So it looks like since the month of May, we've received HUTF funds of 1484.15. Because I did look back in previous to May and it was zero. So I would anticipate that the funds would be coming in even more possibly in June because of where we're at on the budget. We're only 10% of the income on HUTF funds. And I know that takes time for that to start rolling. So do you have anything to add to that?
We did recently receive a payment for the HUTF funds just over 10,000. And I had the laptop that was overheating and I was trying to get everything in there. And then I took it back to her today, came back home to set up for the meeting and found the deposit that I had not entered. And I don't want to get into QuickBooks Online on a non-protected laptop. So that is not reflecting accurately, unfortunately, but it's so close.
Okay.
But no, it's probably about 11,000 in total at this point.
Okay. Good. Then the other question I had is one that Jared brought up. and I know Jara is on the cemetery board, and there's been some discussion about the money from the cemetery plot sales and the plaque sale, and if that has been differentiated. I think it always has been, but I did look on this budget versus actual. We're showing plot sales of $200 for the year and plaque sales of 40. And I have no idea if that's accurate, but I guess I would ask the cemetery board to reconcile with your books if we're accurate on that for year to date for this year.
Yeah, Lois is checking that and she gets back.
Okay, good. The other thing that I have on, or another item on this, is trying to track where we're at on the budget on some of our expenses. And I kind of guessed we were probably pretty close. So I do know on our services provided for legal service, we are extremely close for the year to hitting our budget. So I believe we probably need to start working on a resolution to amend our budget, but there's a couple of items on here too that I think need to be included in that resolution, and I'll get to those in just a second. One of the other items that I saw on the expenses on street maintenance expenses, we have a budget of $25,000 for this year on street maintenance, but I'm seeing a $0 amount spent. And I thought mag chloride would come into that. And have we gotten the bill for mag chloride from the county?
As far as I know, it came straight from work.
Okay,
I have not received one yet.
It might be coming through the county.
It might just be a little delayed, maybe.
it could be.
But that was May?
They
When they
gave me a
came?
price on water, road grader, and mag chloride.
Right.
But mag chloride still came from Grand Junction.
So it's separate. Mag chloride is separate, a separator? Is it?
The county priced it to me through them.
Oh, okay. Okay. So Stacy, if you would follow up with the county and see
Absolutely.
where we're at on that bill. And I know it's going to leave us a pretty good overage still on our budget for streets, because they ended up putting down mag chloride before we could put a lot of gravel down. So, which the roads have so far I think held up quite well. And then I sure hope we use a lot of this budget of snow plowing in November and December. Another item. This is back on page 4. I just want to make sure we got our CIRSA renewal.
Yes.
That's handled.
Yep. Workers' comp and the property and casualty.
All right, good. And then I think the last item that I kind of picked up on when I'm looking at the budget, that I think that we ought to include in the resolution to amend the budget is on wages for the town clerk. We're 7 months into the year. I don't know off the top of my head what that percentage is, but we're at 72% of budget of our annual budget. So we may need to look at increasing our budget for the town clerk for the year. So I just want to bring that up. So as a board, if we want, I'm going to ask Hillary, I think, to start a resolution on amending the budget. If the board's, I'm getting some nods down there.
You sure can. So here's a question though. To amend the budget requires a hearing, and it might make sense to combine it with adoption of the 2027 budget. You can do both at once and only have one hearing, but up to you.
Oh, okay. So you're saying we could wait till later in the year when we adopt the 2027 budget to do that?
Correct.
Okay.
Unless you're at a point where you really don't feel like you have, I mean, I guess it would depend on how far off we are and how much, if you're just moving money around for different purposes, I think it's fine. But if the town hasn't appropriated enough funds, then we should amend now.
What I'm unsure of is if we can move funds around for, say, the legal or the town clerk expenses.
You can. So as long as the town, if you look at the overall appropriation for 2026, if you're not at 100% of that, then you can move funds within that. But if there's a need for money that's even beyond the 2026 budget, that's when you would need to amend
Okay.
that. But up to you.
Okay. Then based on what you're saying, I think we can wait until we do the 2027 budget and do it at the same time. Because we're way under budget on a number of items too. The overall budget we're under. So is the rest of the board in agreement on that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's all the questions I had on the budget versus actuals. Any other questions, comments?
I guess I just some clarification on property tax income. You're significantly over on that. Is that just a result of increased appraisals, I guess? Is that why we're so far over on the income there?
You know, I honestly can't answer that question without doing some more research.
Okay.
I'm surprised to see that larger number as well. But I will do that research.
Yeah, I know property values have been bumped up for everybody lately, but I was just verifying we didn't miss something there, but I'm sure that's what it's a result of, is everybody's property tax going up.
It might be.
And I think when we did the budget last year, I'm going off memory here, so
Yeah.
forgive me, I could be wrong. When we did the budget, we didn't know how much the taxes were gonna go up when we did it back in November. And I think we gave a buffer for what the taxes were for last year. And obviously didn't give a big enough buffer based on what actually happened. So, but I would ask Stacy to check into it.
Yeah. That was just one of the numbers that out. I'm sure everybody's excited about.
Yeah. All right, anything else? How about on disbursements?
I don't have any questions. I think everything's pretty outlined.
Pretty straightforward, I think. All right, Jerry, you okay?
No, I didn't find anything that I
Okay.
questioned.
All right. I would entertain a motion then on disbursement.
This is Jared, and I move that we accept all the financials.
I'll second that motion.
All right, a motion and a second to accept the disbursements and financials. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. All right. All right, item. I remember to scroll up here since I made it big. Item C, discussion and possible vote to fill open board of trustee positions by appointment. We did have another individual send an email to us saying that they would like to be considered for the board of trustees. So I'll start off with that with Josh Ackerman. Josh, would you like to come up to the podium?
Yes.
Oh, you're at the podium. Surprise.
Anyway.
I was still looking for you back there. So I'm going to let you start off like we did at the last meeting with the other two candidates. It's your opportunity to express why you would like to be on the board of trustees and why you feel like you'd be qualified for the board of trustees. So I'll give you a few minutes to sell yourself.
Okay, I don't think I need that long, but, so I moved my family here from Florida about a year and a month ago. So I moved June 20th of last year. So 2 years ago, I sat on the commission for Parks and Rec. So I've been in that role for about 2 years. And then over the winter, I volunteered for OWTS, so Environmental Health Agent. I am also a member of the zoning board with a bunch of people here. And basically, while I volunteer, is because I love this place. I know all of you, and I think I could use my skill set and my just thinking to be on the board and do the right thing. As you guys know, I don't have any cliques. I don't have any allegiances. I like you guys all. I think I was talking to Ed today, and I stopped and saw him in the street. I think the way I can explain it the best is we don't all have to agree here, but we're all at the dinner table, right? So think of us all as aunts, uncles, grandparents, cousins. And again, everybody has a voice, and I believe everybody should have a voice. But again, this town we all love, and we all have to sit at the table. So I think I can sit at that table and represent all you guys and listen to the feedback and try to do the best that I can.
All right, thank you, Josh.
Yep.
Questions for Josh from the board?
Go ahead.
Hi, Josh. Can you tell us about your past, like boardsmanship? Have you been on committees, boards, councils?
Yeah, so in Florida, I was an HOA. I was on the HOA board several times for a couple of different neighborhoods I lived in. I was an HOA president for when I lived in DeLand, an association of about 40 homes. I helped with the Hartman Castle. So the Hartman Castle, if you guys know, we're trying to rescue the Hartman Castle in Gunnison. I sit on their board. I'm also on the board of the City of Gunnison Farmers Market. I have a professional career, so I'm with Granger Industrial Supply. I call it $1 million accounts. In Denver, I call them manufacturing accounts. And I also raise cattle in Doyleville. So, among other things that I'm not going to go into it. But did I answer your question?
Yeah, I think partially anyway. Sounds good.
Josh, I guess you've been to several meetings lately. Kind of know that we're trying to methodically go through applying ordinances and doing it fairly. And we've talked a little bit outside of meetings and stuff, but I think that's the thing I'm at the forefront of my mind right now is like, are you willing to be up here, have conviction, and say we're going to enforce the ordinances fairly and stick through it, because there's going to be pushback. There's going to be people that you're friends with today, they're mad at you tomorrow because you told them, hey, you need to get X, Y, and Z done. And I guess that's kind of one of my questions, is just making sure that we can do what's right for the town. And I mean, I think we're trying to make a very concerted effort of enforcing ordinances fairly. So I guess, how would you respond to that?
I mean, I would say that I don't have a problem being direct with anybody. I think it went back to a couple of meetings ago that we had. I would hope neighbors could handle it together. I mean, I hope, if you live next to somebody and you have an issue, and again, we're all a community, that we can talk amongst ourselves. But obviously, if it's not handled among neighbors and it has to go to a board to make rules, yes, I believe in rules and I believe they should be enforced.
Okay.
Equally. Again, getting back to my point earlier that I said, I'm a relatively newcomer. And again, I like everybody in this room. I respect everybody in this room. Everybody has a different opinion. Everybody might not agree with everything I say, and I might not agree with everybody else. But I will give somebody their fair communication, let somebody voice their opinion. And, ultimately, I think it's a community voice. And if the community speaks and we have to sit up here and make rules for the greater the community equally, I think that's the best choice. And I wouldn't have a problem with it.
Any other questions?
I did want to emphasize what you said about we can have agreements without being, we can have disagreements without being disagreeable. And what we always have to remember is we all have one thing in common, and that's that we love Pitkin. And sometimes when you sit on a board, you just have to remind yourself of that. And so I thought that was the point.
Well, I think you told me, Jara, and I think it was one of the first things you said when we moved here. You said, don't let anybody ruin your picture of why you moved here. And so I keep that in mind all the time. Not that anybody's ruining it, but you know what I'm saying? We all have good days and bad days. And so, yeah.
All right. I guess I had a question, but you've already answered it. And that question is, do you feel like you have any alliances with anyone, any of the businesses, any individuals where you would have to favor them? But I think you already answered that you want to represent the town and everyone in the town. But if you want to add any more to it, I don't want to speak for you.
No, I was just saying that, I mean, I'm a pro-business. I think, the businesses really drove this town. I mean, and I think you can see all the people that are enjoying it. I mean, all the people that are here on vacation, I've talked to a bunch of people. I just came from the hotel and everybody's having a wonderful time. So, but again, I like everybody equally. So that means if you're a business owner, you're a citizen, you've been here 40 years, you've been here a year like me, I believe everybody has an equal fair shot.
I did have another question. You've served on the zoning board how long?
Jesse, do you know how long? I think it was October of last year.
Yeah, I would say 6 months.
Maybe September, October of last year.
And do you feel like you've had any problem on the zoning board?
No.
And I have one other question.
I mean, I haven't always agreed with some of the other zoning boards, but I think we broke bread and we agree to disagree sometimes and make decisions for the best of the situation. But
my other question is, if you became a town council member, does that mean you don't want the town hall commissioner?
No, but I am giving, if anybody's in the room and wants to be the Parks and Rec commissioner, I know we have that posted, so it'd be awesome if somebody could pick that role up.
But you are still interested in it?
Correct, yes.
All right. I will open it up to some questions from the public if we keep it short. If anybody has any questions they might like to ask Josh.
My statement, and to Josh, Jess Garrison here. Do you feel like you lead with example of the same regulations and codes that you're to enforce?
I try to.
That's all I had up. I like the example rather than the sermon.
Right. I think you just.
Are we asking for comments right now or just questions?
If any questions for Josh from the public?
Okay. Yeah.
You,
So this is not the time for comments then?
for public comments about Josh being on the board?
Well, about the board. My comments actually are related, not so much to Josh or to Gay Lynn. Both of them I think are great. And just the fact that they expressed enthusiasm for a couple of positions that are open, I think that goes a long way with me. And what people don't know, on service reports like this, for the most part, they can learn. I think you all probably did the same thing. The thing that I picked up from the last meeting, and I assume we're going to get into tonight, is this issue of conflict of interest. And I think that's a completely appropriate thing to consider, not only for the Board of Trustees, but for all of the boards here. I've been here for 23 years, I lived right across the street, and I've seen a lot of boards come and go. For the most part, I agree with all of them. I will tell you that I don't think it's possible to eliminate completely potential conflict of interest on the Board of Trustees or any of the other boards. And I don't really think that's a particularly realistic goal. I think a realistic goal would be for each of the boards to manage conflict of interest. And from my perspective, that requires every member of every board, whether they're a candidate or a sitting member, to really ask and answer 3 questions. Number 1, can I look in the mirror, be honest with myself, and recognize a conflict that I have and voluntarily recuse myself from the vote for that issue? I think that's question 1. If I ask every member of every board that I've ever known here in Pitkin, every single one of them would say yes to that question, which is exactly why it doesn't work, it won't work, it has never worked, and it will never work. We can't rely on voluntarily recognizing our conflicts because people don't recognize their conflicts, and even if they do, they're unwilling to recuse themselves. So voluntary recusal is great, and that should be question one. Question two, if any member of the board believes that another member of the board has a conflict, I would ask them, are they willing and able to turn to that board member and say respectfully, I would like you to recuse yourself on the vote for this issue. I don't know how many people are willing to be able to do that, but I think that's an important skill set for a board member. Now, number three, it's really good. If you turn to a board member that you believe is conflicted in this particular issue, and you request them to voluntarily recuse themselves, and they refuse, are you willing to make a motion to the board to vote to recuse that member on the vote for that particular issue? And what I would hope is that in the interest of the town, every member of every board in Pitkin is willing to do that. It's awkward, it's uncomfortable, but it's something that needs to be done. Voluntary recusal clearly doesn't work. And if you all have the courage to do that when it's necessary, I think you don't have to focus so much on trying to avoid conflict of interest on the board if we can actively manage it. But again, that requires courage on your part, Josh, Lynn, and the three of you folks up there, and all the other boards as well. So I'm just saying that I'm on your side, and I give you permissions to be bold and to be courageous in our interests, so that when these things occur, they can be managed, and I think they can. I think it's unrealistic in a little town like this to avoid it. We're too small, so let's try to manage it. So that's my thought. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. All right, if there's no other questions from the public, then I'll bring it back up to the board for any discussion for Josh as a trustee. I'll start off with from the first time that I met Josh, when they first came to town before they bought their house and they were here. To me, it made a bold statement when he wanted to be the Parks and Rec Commissioner and they didn't even live here full time. Because one of the first things that Josh told me is, I want to be involved in town, and I'll start out as a commissioner, and we'll see where it goes from there. So over time, when we went for a number of months without an environmental health agent, Josh came to me and says, I'd like to do that role. I think I could do that. I will say, after giving the tracking spreadsheet and the files and going over that with Josh, I think he's done a phenomenal job in keeping track of our OWTS inspections for this year. Gives a report on a monthly basis where we're at, where we're tracking. We'll discuss that later on tonight, where we're at as far as number of people that still need to get their inspections completed. And then steps up for the zoning board. And I think that makes huge statements when you want to start as a commissioner, work your way up through, kind of get a feel for how the town operates and how the meetings go. And I think that's extremely important. So I'd like to throw that out there. Josh came to me about a month ago and said, town hall commissioners open. I've got some ideas. We need some ideas for different commissioner jobs out there to do things differently. So he's asked to put his name in the hat for that. And I really respect him for asking to do some of these other commissioner jobs. I know a lot of them can be overwhelming. So, especially when you're trying to work full time. So I appreciate that. That's my comments for Josh.
I do appreciate the input and the willingness that you put in, yeah, since before you moved here, to take such an interest. Obviously, always, we have a hard time filling these positions. And you filled several. So kudos to you for that. That takes a lot of interest. We're all on the learning curve, every one of us. And try to do our best. So,
I guess my only other question, just in fairness, I mean, Stacy and Josh, I assume you're a registered voter here. I assume you did
Yes.
it probably a year ago.
Yep.
Stacy, were you able to verify that?
Yes, I was. Yes.
Thank you.
All right. So no further questions, comments from the board? I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to, is that what, not elect,
Appoint.
appoint Josh Ackerman to the Board of Trustees.
this is Jerry, and we'll second
So we have a motion and a second to appoint Josh Ackerman to the Board of Trustees. All in favor, say aye.
it.
Aye. All right. Congratulations, Josh. Your appointment will run through next April.
I think.
Well, yes, through next April. We'll hold an election in April of 2027. Is that right? 2028. Yeah, it's a year in 2028.
Oh, that's right.
Yep, it is. Corey, you're not wishful thinking, are you?
Huh?
Yeah, it is. It's a year and 6 months. So at the next meeting, Stacy will have an oath for you to cite and sign, and you'll get all the fun documents before the next meeting too. So tonight you're off the hook.
Sounds
So,
good. Thank you.
thank you, Josh. All right. Then at the last meeting, we had Galen Pipes had put her name in for a Board of Trustee position. She had sent an email after that meeting, I believe still expressing her desire to be on the Board of Trustees. So I know at the last meeting, we gave Galen some time to talk about why she wanted to be on the Board of Trustees. I'll give her the time again tonight if she'd like to say anything, if she still wants to do that.
I have a question.
Okay.
First. At the last month's meeting, we asked Stacy to do the investigation about the paperwork or registration, voter registration, or what was it? Yeah, so I wondered if that was.
Yes, I did reach out to my contact at the county who sends me the, confidential spreadsheet that includes the private voter information that only I'm allowed to see. And Galen's name is still not on that list. She has the voter registration. I was going to say, she emailed it to me. I forwarded it to you guys. I do not have the knowledge to understand why she has a voter registration, but she is not on the list.
I got a ballot and the star was there when it.
I put it in your box. I know. And,
So the list that you have, is it current?
yes, yes. It was up to date as of the day after our June meeting.
So June 21st.
I just
Yeah.
didn't get that email, apparently.
Oh, shoot.
I saved every piece of paper that's been in on my registration.
You got your ballot?
Yeah, she was with us. When I came in, I was like, I have a ballot to vote.
I just assumed that you had found everything was in order and.
I have not, and I can't explain that. I do want to, I'm trying to connect with the gentleman who sends me that spreadsheet. This past month has been horrible. He's also been busy with the summer, and we have not had a chance to connect to make it make sense.
Have you ever touched base with Kathy Spode?
Kathy,
She's
Took
our
the million.
million. Yeah. She's our head voter
Oh.
registration person, clerk and all.
Same office.
okay, I'm gonna say I haven't.
Remember the voter registration.
Okay. So I hate that I can't explain this. All I know is that the name has to be on this list to be accepted, and I can't explain why you're not on there.
Yeah, I'll go to my camper right now and come back with all the proof.
Well, and I'm no expert on any of this. This isn't even remotely in my wheelhouse of what I do as the clerk. But like I have your voter registration, so that's not a problem for me. No, I have a copy of it in my email right here.
But I have more. I have
But-
the mail that came to me. I have my ballot that came to me.
Well, and maybe you and I both, I don't know, that probably doesn't make sense. But I don't understand why you're not on the list. That's not something I have anything to do with. It's not something I know anything about.
Is the list for Pitkin or for Gunnison County?
It's Pitkin specific.
Mr. Mayor, can we
Yes.
ask,
Yeah,
can we ask our
that's,
attorney?
I was looking at
Oh,
Hillary. Hillary,
yes.
can you give us some direction with what you're hearing?
So it sounds to me, so Stacy, you received her voter registration form or can see it?
Yes, she emailed it to me.
Okay, and what is the date of that?
Oh, let me pull it up here. Let's see, the date is county registration date 1/28/26. Date of affiliation 1/28/26.
Okay, and is the question whether there was a year of, so that's separate from residency? And is there any question about the year of residency?
2 years.
Do you know what?
I mean, maybe that is where it's getting hung up as residency. I don't understand, like, I don't know what factors go into putting you on that list. I was
I mean,
under the
if you
Right.
received a ballot, if there's been a ballot sent, then it seems to me that that's pretty substantial proof that she's on some list somewhere. I think the fact that she's received a ballot and you have the voter registration form dated from January, that seems pretty decisive to me. I'd hate to have this hung up on a bureaucratic snafu of just the list not showing her name when all other factors indicate that she is a registered voter. But confirm for me, because I don't recall from last time, there's not a question about the 12 months of residency, is there? Because you don't have
I
to
mean-
so 12 months of residency is entirely separate from voter registration. They're two different criteria.
She's been employed here for 2 years.
I was gonna say, I know for a fact she's lived here for 2 years.
Over a year for
I was gonna say, it seems like longer, but,
2 years.
okay. So she has been living here exclusively and
Okay.
working.
Yeah, it sure seems like the town has sufficient evidence of her qualifications to be a board member. I would not want to find otherwise at this point.
Thank you. That's what it seemed like to me, but I don't know.
So I believe if what I'm hearing is correct, we could move forward with tonight with Galen, with her expressing why she wants to be on the board. Then the board can ask questions and then we can decide what we want to do. And then if she is put on, then this would have to be cleared up prior to the next the next meeting.
Stacy, have you done the Secretary of State voter lookup?
No.
I'll send you that link. You might be able to do it right now while you're multitasking.
Cool. I would happily.
I don't think we need to wait. Sorry, I didn't mean to confuse things. I think Stacy can look into this while the meeting proceeds.
While we're working, okay.
Okay.
So I guess then at this point, I'll ask Galen if she'd like to explain why she'd like to be on the board and sell herself to the board.
Well,
Turn it on. And don't close.
okay. Well, as I said in the last meeting, I fell in love with this town. I mean, yes, it was supposed to be a summer home and it became my permanent home. I've spent 2 years investing in this community, getting to know the people of this community. Now even sharing the history of this community with the next generation by starting the story time, and doing stories and crafts that continue the history of the train and mining that began this town. I guess, I mean, as I said in the email I sent, I was told I hadn't been here long enough. And as I sent y'all on the email, I kind of feel like it's dog years for me because I talk to more people than most do in the town. Besides, if you're sitting on the porch at the Plume or at the bar at the Moose, you hear a lot, you talk a lot, you know how people feel, you get to know these people. And I mean, those who know me, whether it's they call me Mama Moose or the Pitkin Mom, all the people I've gotten to know in this town, they say all I do is take care of them, and I care about them. And now I'm just trying to extend it to the whole town, not just the limited ones that walk in. I truly love this place for what it is. I'm not coming to try to change anything. I love Pitkin for what it is. I wouldn't have stayed if I didn't. I have a home I could have gone back to and have been closer to my grandbabies. I've stayed here because I love it. There was a board, these positions have been open for a long time. So I thought, well, I could step up. I've been here long enough now. I am an official resident. I can step up and take on this responsibility and stuff because I would hate to see anything happen to the town government because we don't have a big enough board. I mean, I don't want to see us have the state or county have come in at any point. So I was stepping up to fill a position and fill a need. And as someone said, when it comes to the whole Jake issue, someone told me tonight, they haven't spent enough time around you to know that that's not an issue. You fight Jake on everything on his own business. Why would you not for the town? When I don't agree with something, I'm very outspoken, and those who know me, as Star said, I put up with you for 2 years. We're both outspoken women, you know, speak our minds. And, you know, the last meeting it was said, I'm just an employee. I'm not, as I told you in the email, I'm not just an employee. I'm someone who is invested in marketing this town by doing it through the Moose. And that has benefited this town with tax dollars that has brought new people in. So I have contributed to this town in a way. I don't just go to work, do my thing, and go home. I'm actively trying to figure out
how people will want to stay here and eat at any of the places and stuff. I support all the businesses. I don't have an issue with anyone. I go to all businesses. I've had Stephanie's breakfast burritos. She does it in a bowl for me because I can't have gluten. I go to the hotel. I'm a supporter of everyone. Like Josh said, I'm not, even if you upset me, I still wave. Might not wave back, but I'm still going to wave and be friendly. So that's who I am. I can put that aside. We can have a disagreement, but we can move forward and move on from that.
All right, thank you. Questions from the board? Go ahead, Sarah.
I have a question. I remember from before, last month, but I don't remember asking you about boardsmanship and boards, committees, councils, that kind of thing that you've served on previously.
It's all been through church and schools, boards, PTAs, Snow Trackers Board. I'm on that one. I've stepped up for the Gunnison County Snow Trackers. I'm on that board, me and all the men. So I've stepped up for that one here locally. Church boards, I've been involved, whether it's financing, done budgets for the ministries and stuff I was involved in back in the day in Texas. And then I worked for companies that have involved a lot of training on budgets and details. And I've created 2 startup churches that I had to create every little detail, every rule, every regulation, every training procedure for children's ministries and preschool ministries, which in Texas is a big deal because of the security issues you have there. So,
okay, thank you.
I don't really have anything to add. I talked to Galen after the last meeting.
Okay. How about any questions for Galen from the public? All right, I'm going to bring it back up to the board for, I should have known.
Galen was in the hot seat a month ago. And I think she answered all the questions that Mike Rupp shared tonight with Josh. Conflict of interest and all these things. And I felt like she answered it. So I understood from last month that we were wanting to clear up the voter situation. And I believe Hillary has answered that. So thank you for coming here.
Thank you, Jesse. Marie.
Well, I was.
Close.
There you go.
Most of you know I'm Marie, born here. My thinking is when we have leadership. Closer. Yep.
We just can't
Oh,
hear
you can hold it for me? Oh, good. When we have leadership in any of our boards, it's always nice to see them attending events of the town, whatever they are. And I haven't gone down to this much for a while. And this last month was the first time I saw this lady, and so I was really surprised that wanting to step up to be a trustee for our town. So I just wonder if attending and being part of the community is something that would be of interest to you or that would be important to you.
It is very important to me. Unfortunately, work is usually when the event's going on, is our busy time. I did before I worked at the Moose full time. I did attend events 2 years ago, that first summer, well, second summer. The first summer, we came to events, when nobody knew who we were. And then when we came back the second summer, I never left. We were going to events. Now I work way over full time. As many people could tell you, I don't get to leave the property. It's a running joke. But I do want to be involved in town. Even though I didn't make the firefighter thing, I gave my money to Johnny Vogel and it's like, put my name in the raffle. So even when I'm not here, someone's bringing my donation and helping. Pancake breakfast, I would have loved to come. I can't eat the food there. So I tend not to go to that because I can't have gluten and dairy. But you know, if it means coming and hanging out and watching y'all all enjoy the food that I can't eat, I will do that. And I invite you, you don't have to come to Moose, but I would love for you to come to my story time. You don't have to be a kid and come see what I'm doing on the history of the town with the kids on Thursday mornings at 10. That is something near and dear to my heart. And stuff. Like we've built little alpine tunnels. We've made little rocks to hide, like mining. You know, sharing the history of the town with the next generation has become my newest way to be able to be involved and not conflict.
Well, this is just my opinion, and I've been around a lot of leadership meetings, and I ran for the House of Representatives in House District 42 in Colorado. I had to go around and get voters in my precinct. I knock on doors and go out and everything, and let people know that I wanted their vote. So I had gone to 5 training leadership meetings to even get that spot. I can truly say that even though I didn't get the position, I won a lot of great friends. They still recognize me. And I felt it was my position to go where they were, whether it was whatever was going on in town, I would be there for them. So I'm just saying, from my point of view, being a leader means being available or being visible. Okay.
Hey Jay, can I have off when there's one thing?
I see other people up there on the board right now that don't go to all the events, so.
All right, I'm going to bring it back up to the board for any comments or more questions. Again, I'll lead it off. I'm concerned. I understand what Marie is saying as far as being a leader and being out with people. I think this board goes to all of the events that they possibly can. I think being a leader makes themselves visible to the town, throughout the town. I'm a bit miffed that for the last 2 years, we've had a Parks and Rec position open, environmental health agent open, a zoning board positions that were open, cemetery board positions that are open. And opportunities have been expressed multiple times about we need people on those boards. And to me, in any type of an organization, the way you go to the board or board of directors is you start at the bottom and you work your way up. I went back and looked at a number of in fact, for as long as I've been here, for over 4 years, and even going back longer than that, the member of the boards of trustees that have been on this board and the different things in town that they've served on. And I've not yet seen a trustee put on the board where there were a number of positions open and they didn't serve on any other commissioner boards. I think that's important to learn how this town operates. I stated last month, when I came to town in 13, I started attending every board meeting that I could and zoning board meeting in the summer months while I was here. In 2022, when I came to town, I attended every zoning board meeting and board of trustee meeting. And then a zoning board position became open and I was asked to be on it. So I became on the zoning board. Zoning board chairman position, I was elected to that position. I was asked if I would run for a trustee position, but it's after I learned for 2 years how the trustees work, how the meetings operate. And I will tell you today, after 4 years, I'm still learning because I think it's an ongoing process. But my concern is for someone to come to town and to go directly to the Board of Trustees. I'm not sure that's the best for the town of Pitkin. That's just my feeling. And I want to express that. Any other comments from the board?
Nothing for me.
I have wondered, Galen, if you'd be interested in the zoning board.
I mean, I would have no problem. That's, well, I mean, I've never been on that type of board. You know, someone can tell me what it entails.
It's an advisory board, and you know, you can read the zoning code and read the state statutes and kind of familiarize yourself. That's just a thought I had.
But Ed's made it very clear that he does not want me on here.
It's not that I don't want you on it. I'm not sure you're ready for it.
Would you be willing to do one of those other positions initially or concurrently?
Concurrently?
Those other positions concurrently?
I'd be willing. I mean, when the town clerk position was over, I took a lot of time considering it. But I think when it started applying, it was busy season and I didn't think I could give it the 100% at that time. Otherwise, I would have applied that position. We had conversations about that. You know, I've had an interest in doing stuff.
It is a concern. It's much more time consuming than I'm talking about the town council now. So it's a zoning board. Those are very time consuming, way more than what you think.
Oh, no, I know it is, but
with people and their needs.
I'm gonna have a job where they're gonna, probably just like we're gonna come up and just talk when in the middle of a rush. I realized that and was willing to do that. Again, just because no one was stepping up for the position. I waited and waited and waited.
True.
I did not just, there was a board position, I didn't say, ooh, I want it. Nobody stepped up. I did. But not wanted, I'm good.
Like I said, it's not that you're not wanted, but I think it's important to understand how things operate in town. It concerns me that as a board of trustees, we listen to the zoning board on the zoning ordinances, and you don't know what that is about. And that greatly concerns me.
I would have to do the research. I'm willing to do the research. But the last meeting, it was all about Jake. None of this was brought up. Now we're bringing up something else. So.
I don't really think, I'm not thinking the way you're thinking at all. And I know it's hard to say, don't take it personally. I'm just trying to think.
Well, certain people on the board have not spoken to me since the last meeting, so.
There's a number of people of town that I've not spoken to since the last meeting.
I would be happy to have her on the zoning board.
So.
Any other questions, comments? All right.
Are you ready for a motion?
I'll just step down.
If you would like to make a motion.
I'll make a motion that we appoint Galen Pipes to the town council.
I'll second that motion.
So we have a motion and a second to appoint Galen Pipes to the Board of Trustees. All in favor, say aye.
Can we have a little discussion? I just had a thought.
Yes.
Caitlin, concerning your comments here just now in the last couple of minutes. Do you serve on the council? I mean, it is a wonderful resource.
I
Will
know,
you be
yes,
willing
I
to-
love Ed. I've waved at him. I've always respected Ed. I've been one of his #1 supporters and cheerleaders
Okay.
the whole entire time.
He'll
So
be
I
a
was,
great resource, and I just wanted to make sure that you'd be, willing to, I would hate for you to shut off that resource.
no, I'm not that type of person. I haven't shut out anyone.
Okay.
I mean, things were said that many people came and said they didn't think were right to me at the last
There'll be
meeting.
a big,
Yeah,
huge learning curve.
but
I do believe you love the town, and I know a lot of it's people, and there's a whole lot to learn. And I'm still for sure learning, for sure. So I just wanted to make sure that you think you could be open enough with it, especially it. I'm not saying Corey's not a good resource or that I could help some, but it will be an invaluable resource along with all the research you have to do. It takes hours. I think nobody really, I sure didn't understand it before I got on the council either. But that's all my comments. I'm sorry.
All right.
But no, yes, I have the utmost respect for Ed. So,
All right. So we've got a motion. We've got a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
No. All right. So Galen, please don't take it personally. It's not personal by any means. I am of a very strong opinion that people need to serve on other commission boards in this town before you jump to the board of trustee. You're going to find out tonight that there will be a zoning board position open. There's a Parks and Rec position commissioner open. Right this minute, there's a town hall commissioner open. There's a position open on the cemetery board. But I think that's how, even to prepare for the next, say, year and a half, to show that, yes, I'm dedicated to this town. I want to be on some of the boards. I want to figure out what the zoning board is about and to serve on that board. I've learned an awful lot on the zoning board since I came to town. A lot that I had no idea about. And that is, I think, a very, very good place to start to learn how a town operates and how Pitkin operates, and some of the difficulties we have with some of our ordinances and enforcing the ordinances and making sure that they're right. So, but please do not take it personally. It is not personal by any means.
Could I say something? I
Yes.
want to reiterate to what Ed said. Please don't shut yourself off from the town or the council. If you love this town, and I believe you do, you have a lot to offer, a lot to bring. I think that is what Ed said is important too. If you love the town and you're willing to, it's not the town council. Avail yourself of your talents to the town. I think there are many avenues that you can use, and there'll be openings on this board in the not too far future. What did you say, a year and a half?
Year and a half,
Yes.
yeah.
Please.
All right. Thank you, Galen. All right, we're going to move on to item D, which is ordinance number 4, series 2026, ordinance of the Board of Trustees of the Town of Pitkin, adopting the Town of Pitkin, Colorado zoning code 2026. And it's a continuation of the public hearing. I believe the clean copy was posted out on the website with the meeting documents, as well as the map, the zoning map. Let me see, I can't see it that far away. I'll get to it. Bear with me. Thought I had it open. Where is it? open. I'm going to try to go to the red line. Maybe that will be easier for tonight because there were a couple of items that we discussed at the last meeting. Okay, someone sees it up there. Point it out to me because I see the clean. It's zoning code.
I can barely see that.
Oh, there it is. Sorry, it is right above there. I just didn't see it. Sorry. And I'm going to try to blow it up so you can see it. Is that big enough so you can see it out there?
Yeah.
Do I need to go bigger so I can see it?
Possibly.
Possibly. Might be right. Okay. So the first item that we discussed, the first item is on the zoning code, not the first item we discussed at the last meeting, but that was the definition of a shipping container. A large box with or without a roof or chassis or wheels underneath, designed primarily for shipping or hauling materials, suitable for storage of materials with appropriate modifications, may be used for habitation. So that's under the definitions of a shipping container. Front yard setback on section 12. All building structures shall be set back a minimum of the following distances from the front property lines. 10 feet on residential business district. This is stating 10 feet.
Yeah, this is one of the ones I was going to bring up.
And this, yeah. So in the business district where this came about, and I'll bring the discussion back up to remind where it came about. In the business district, several months ago, last year, actually, there were several properties up on Sage Lane that were in residential, but they were actually in the business district. And those were combined into the business district. Those properties on Sage Lane are actually on a lane, and it should not be 0 setback on Sage Lane. It should be a 10-foot setback on Sage Lane, which now happens to be in a business district. So it's not all a business district would be a 10-foot setback. It's only Sage Lane in the business district.
So I guess how do we clarify that? Because it's
I'm looking
about this down the road in a year or two when hopefully maybe there's a different board that gets to handle this, but
right.
You know, or 5 years from now, how do you clarify that somebody's not going, nope, it's just 10 foot, that's what it says? Because I understand the point, but you know, we've always talked about how on Main Street it's 80 foot wide. Why do we need to add another 10 foot setback there?
But when you get up on Sage Lane, because it's a lane, it is a narrow road and it has to be 0 feet. So Hillary, can we clarify in the front yard setback in business district that only applies the 10 feet setback only applies to Sage Lane in the business district?
You could, but did that rezoning get documented somehow? Because it might be, is it represented in a?
It's represented in the current map.
Okay. So this would not undo that. I'd say that's that more specific determination of setbacks is not being redone by this. This is about prospectively going forward, how things are zoned and where setbacks are. So I don't think it redoes the rezoning.
Hang on a second, Hillary. I need the crowd to quiet down just a little bit. We can't hear what Hillary's saying up here as she's talking. So thank you. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Hillary.
So my thinking is that these zoning provisions apply prospectively. They don't rezone what's already been zoned. So if the zoning map reflects it correctly, this won't change it. It's essentially a variance. You're saying that sort of a variance has been granted from the zero setback requirement of a business district. And that's reflected on Sage Lane.
Because I'm still just not understanding how we're getting to, there's a 0-foot setback everywhere in the business district except for Sage Lane. It doesn't explicitly state that anywhere.
And I'm saying that that is already reflected in the zoning map.
So the zoning map shows, let's say, all of Main Street and Sage Lane as business district, and that's all it shows.
Oh, it doesn't show setbacks. Okay.
It doesn't show the setback on the map.
Okay. Then yes, we should add that clarification.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like it needs, if that's the goal, it should explicitly state that. Because the way this reads, it would mean if you had a business or property on Main Street, you would have to have a 10-foot setback from the main street.
Correct. That's the way I read it
What we're
right
trying
now.
to do. I understand the purpose. I just think we need to explicitly state our intention.
So I would recommend that it says in the business district, it's a 0 feet setback with the exception of Sage Lane, where it's a 10-foot setback. So if we can add that verbiage, I think that'll clarify. Anybody see differently?
No, that's fine. Like I said, just explicitly stated here, just, you know, how these things go 3, 4, or 5 years down the road.
Oh, absolutely. The intent oftentimes gets forgotten. Okay, so we're going to move on from that, if we can add that in there. And then the fence setback for lots in all districts, the setback for new and replacement fence is 0 feet, except for the lot boundary adjacent to the alley, which will require a 5-foot setback. And that's not anything different, it's just clarifying on fence setback. We okay there?
Yep.
Okay. Jerry, okay?
Yes.
All right. And then under number of signs, so section 15, C, number of signs, no more than one sign of 5 square feet shall be permitted per property in the residential district instead of the 50 square feet. And then under building permits, section 16A, all applicable fees in the town's fee schedule shall be doubled for all projects where work begins prior to the issuance of a building permit by the town. So basically what it's saying is you start a construction without the building permit, then the fee doubles. And then under item 1, added the unmodified shipping containers. So under 200 square feet or less, including storage sheds and unmodified shipping containers, does not require a permit, but must meet all the applicable town laws, including without limitation, setback requirements. So the unmodified shipping containers under 200 square feet. And then item 2 specifically addresses the shipping containers. So structures built with shipping containers that have a floor area of more than 200 square feet or are modified in any way, including without limitation by cutting of the sides, roofs, or floors, shall require a building permit and the submission to the town of drawings stamped by an engineer, architect licensed in Colorado and certified to meet all applicable standards, specifications, and requirements for safe habitation. Any shipping container modified as discussed herein shall be considered a permanent structure and placed on an acceptable foundation. So after our last meeting, it was determined we need to add something specifically about storage containers or connexes, shipping containers that are modified. Because once they're modified, it does change the structure. And then on down to B, item B, number 3. Set of building construction plans are stamped and signed by Colorado licensed engineer. What was changed at the bottom, accepted applications for building permits for prefabricated sheds or shelters may submit manufacturer approved drawings as long as such drawings meet all applicable Colorado state and local requirements. And as some might recall our conversation last month, there was question is, do we want to require that the drawings need to be a Colorado licensed engineer? And after some research from our legal counsel, we found out that a professional engineer cannot cross state lines without being licensed in that state. So allowing it is futile because they can't do it. So it will require a Colorado state licensed engineer for the drawings. And then for prefabricated sheds or shelters, they submit the manufacturer approved drawings as long as those drawings come from Colorado state engineer. And then under section 17, under other permits, on fence permits, fence permits shall be required for the installation of all new fences and for work on existing fences that involve the repair, replacement, or relocation of 50% or more of the length of the existing fence. For purposes of this section, painting of a fence shall not be considered a repair. All fence permits shall be issued by the building inspector. So at the end, the building codes listing the 18 International Residential Code, 2023 Colorado Electric Ready and Solar Ready, 2021 International Energy Conservation Code, and the 2025 Colorado Wildfire Resiliency Code that we were required to put in place by the state. And then the appendix is the map, and there is, I did not pull the map up, but I will. And that's an eye chart. So with those changes being noted, is there any questions from the board on the zoning code 2026?
Nope. I'm glad we clarified the whole Colorado engineer thing.
Yes.
It's kind of the way I was leaning, that
It's,
it wasn't legally possible.
would have liked to not put that in there as Colorado licensed engineer, but sometimes we can't do everything that we like to do.
That's right. I had a couple of questions regarding that asked to me, and I didn't know the answer, but when I made a couple of calls to one engineer friend and a grandson who's an engineer, they both said, well, if that's up to the individual, if they could still get someone out of state, if that engineer was willing to become Colorado's, I don't know what it takes to get licensed or certified, but that would be up to them. Right. We don't care where that engineer lives if he's certified, qualified, covered by the state of Colorado, right?
Yes.
We don't care where he lives.
That is correct.
But
So
I don't know what that would be.
So, I mean, what you're saying is, I'll throw an example out there. You can be an engineer, professional engineer that lives in Kansas City, but you're also licensed in Colorado. And you can do the drawings, that's perfectly fine.
As long as our town is, they can prove they're certified and.
Yes. Yep. Well, the drawings have to be stamped with,
yes.
with the Colorado.
But they would have, that engineer would have to be.
They would have to
certified in the state.
That's correct. All right. Okay. Any other questions? So then at 8:27, I'm going to continue again the public hearing for the zoning code ordinance. If there's any questions, comments from the public for the public hearing. Go ahead. Jump up there, Fred.
The only question I had is that Aspen Lane, is that the yellow spot right there?
Not Aspen Lane, it's Sage Lane.
You know, whatever it
It's,
was.
yeah, it's now, on the map, it's in yellow. And it was originally these little triangles right up here were listed in residential.
So it's up there off of Main, or where is it located exactly?
It's above Main off of Sage Lane, right up here. Originally it was, I don't know if I can do this.
Behind the hotel.
Yeah, the site's behind the hotel.
Okay.
Is where it was.
Yeah, I had no clue where it was.
Okay.
Yes, downstream from the town hall, correct?
That is correct.
Yep.
Yes. Yep. Any other questions? Ramon?
I brought this up a month ago, and I haven't heard any discussion on it. Didn't hear any discussion on it before I brought it up. And I think it's important. And I think that the consequences of adding something that's not needed is you need to think about. On page 9 of the proposed zoning code, which is part of section 10, permitted accessory uses. Number 7 has been added. This is new to the zoning code. It states temporary employee housing incident to and necessary for the operation of the primary use of the property, which may include recreational vehicles or multiple dwelling units. A, I think it's a bad addition, but B, it's also in conflict with the first paragraph of section 10, which says that it's subordinate to permitted use on the same premises, and as a permitted use, must meet all requirements of this code. This being temporary, I'm not sure why you moved it out of temporary usage preceding this before, but the whole thing is in conflict with this code. It basically has no restrictions, no requirements, and if you apply the requirements as the first paragraph of section 10 says, you can't do it. You can't put recreational vehicles on a property. You can't, the operation, how long is it going to be for? It doesn't say. You're making a temporary, or what was a temporary proposal, and it's still called temporary employee housing, permanent. There's nothing in here that says you have to put a temporary date like it does on temporary uses in section 3 prior to that. And I will ask you to answer one question. Do you want to delay this whole thing until next year? Because that's what's going to happen. Look at the requirements. If a referendum is filed, and you know I can do that, if a referendum is filed, the zoning code will not take effect in 30 days. It has to follow a certain schedule after the referendum is filed, which can be up to 30 days. And that puts it well within the limitations of what you can do as a special meeting in town around a general election coming in November. And I think you're going to be looking at least January before you can hold a special election required by a referendum. That's all I have to say.
I am sorry to take the podium. Jesse James, are you threatening the town of Pitkin?
Threatening?
Yes, sir.
If you want to call it that?
Yes. And what's your ground?
Mr. Mayor.
Let's,
Yeah, we're not doing that.
Coroner, we're not doing
Will you
this.
answer
No,
that?
no, we're not doing this.
All right, thank you.
All right, do I have any other public comments? All right, I'm going to bring it back up to the board. At 8:33, I'm closing the continuation of the public comments. Any comments, discussion from the board?
I'm trying to figure out a way to be polite about it. I would ask that, if we're not doing the job right, then feel free to write it or referendum it. But to have one person in town say we're not gonna have a zoning code because we don't meet their demands exactly how he wants the section written, I'm sorry. We might just have to do that, but everybody in this room is hearing how this might happen. Just so you guys know. If I recall, Mr. Reed had an opportunity to sit on this board and debate this, and he resigned. So basically hold the town hostage on a zoning code till next year because you're not getting your way on a section. It's gonna cause a lot of heartburn in this whole town.
Amen.
I too would hate to think that one person would try to hold the town hostage. I'm trying to move the town forward. But if that's what you feel like you need to do, I will let the folks in town know who the one person is that's responsible for it.
And I'd like to add, I appreciate the input. Have a solution. Don't just constantly point your finger about every problem that you find. And that goes for everybody. If you find a problem, you don't like a section of the zoning code, bring it up and come up with a solution. I've heard you bring this up twice now, and you've not offered a single solution for it. How do you?
I offered that.
So why do we have to delete it? Why do you
Take it out.
So it's your way or the highway on this?
What specific?
So.
He has no ground to comment.
All right. But I'm bringing it back
Yeah,
to the board.
I mean, that's all I have to add. I mean, just the fact that the town can be held hostage because one section is not written specifically to one individual's desires is ridiculous. Offer a solution.
Takes more than one. Don't worry about me. Takes more than one person to do a referendum. You
I'm
don't
aware.
think I can do it? Go ahead.
All right, I'm bringing it back to the board. It's in the discussion. I am making a motion that we approve ordinance number 4, series 2026, of ordinance of the Board of Trustees of the Town of Pitkin, adopting the Town of Pitkin, Colorado zoning code 2026.
I'll second that motion.
Before there's a vote, do you want to amend your motion, Mayor, to include the amendment to section 12B regarding business district front yard setbacks?
Yes, I do. Thank you. So I'll amend that motion to include section B, fence ordinance setbacks.
Yeah, I'll second your amended motion, Ed.
All right. So we've got a motion and a second on the amended motion. All in favor, say aye.
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 After 26 months, I believe, aye.
Thank you. So on to, get back here. Lost it. Totally lost it now. Okay. Item E. I think I might have closed it. I don't see it on a tab up there. Is anybody? The agenda? Boop. That's right. All right. Item E, a resolution of the Board of Trustees of the Town of Pitkin, Colorado, setting the compensations for the members of the Zoning Board of Adjustments. And that is been on the table for 6 months until we could pass the zoning code ordinance. And what that is basically doing is giving the zoning board a pay of $25 per regular meeting that's conducted and attended. So I'll open it up for public comments. All right, I'm gonna bring it back up to the board. Comments?
Yeah, I have a comment. I've had an email and a couple of comments, and it is true. For years and years, we had the zoning board with no compensation. Now we all know how difficult it is to get people to serve on the boards. And I think it was Mr. Reed's recommendation, maybe a year and a half or more ago, that we do this, and maybe we can get a few people who that might just entice them. And I thought it was a good idea, and I still think it's a good idea.
I'll say the $25 isn't much of a compensation, but it's at least some type of a compensation to serve on a very important board for our town. All right. Any other comments? I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 6, series 2026.
This is Ed. I'll second it. So we've got a motion and a second to approve resolution for compensation for the members of the Zoning Board of Adjustments. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, carries. All right, item number F, appointment of a town hall commissioner. So we did have one individual that put their name in for the town hall commissioner. So I'm going to give Josh Ackerman a little bit of time to express why he wants to be the town hall commissioner.
So I'll be quick, based on the time and how long we're taking in the meeting. But, so I saw again, town hall commissioner positions open. I have a lot of experience. I'm not a contractor or builder, but I have restored a lot of old buildings. I'm actually restoring an old building right now that's 2 years younger than the town hall in Kansas. That's been a fun project, but like that flag over there and everybody's looking at, the town hall's a beacon for all of us. And I appreciate everybody and how they cared for it in the past and that it still stands. But I think we could do some upgrades to it. I think we could get it back looking like a diamond again. And my biggest thing about being the town hall commissioner is I think it needs to be used again. I think the people that built it in 1900 would want us to have social events, would want us to have more town events, would want us to partner with businesses in town to maybe have overflow events there. Weddings, social gatherings. I think the town belongs, that town hall belongs for people to be in it, not to just sit there and collect dust, in my personal opinion.
All right, thank you, Josh. Questions from the board for Josh? Go ahead.
You know, we stand on the shoulders of those who came before us, and we are so thankful all these years, every person who's been town hall commissioner. Some did more than others, and we had the grant 22 years ago now, is it?
Yes.
Anyway,
under
and
20.
did some restoration then. Well, we're so thankful for all of these things. And I'm thankful that you're willing to step up. I'm thankful for everyone who came before. My question is, are you ready to get on board? I think Ed can bring you up to date on the grant and the work that needs to be done right away. Anyway, I'm excited and thank you for stepping up.
Yeah, I know we're going to be doing some foundation work to it. And then once we get that done, then we can look at doing some other things with the Historical Society of Colorado. And unfortunately, to my wife's detriment, I love old things. So, anything old and antique. She tells me to sell a lot of things, and I keep too much.
So I will add to Jared's question or comment regarding the foundation and the wall repair. The agreement between the state of Colorado and the town of Pitkin was the only way that grant would be renewed for the third time is if myself and Corey Nasso would lead with the state on that grant. So unfortunately, I won't be able to turn it over to you, but I do have Phil and Todd are set up to start the work any day. They were really, and I'm going to lay this out here now and put it in their report. Their intent was to start on town hall in June, so they would be done with it by Pitkin days. And then some of their workload didn't go quite as planned, and it was going to be started. They thought around July 1st or 2nd, and they're getting backed up. But Phil and Todd both understand for the town, we've got to have this completed by the end of August so we can meet the timelines that have been provided by the State Historical Society or State History Department, that's required for this grant. So I'd love to give you everything about the grant and the file that's about that tall.
I'm good.
But hopefully it's going to be done in another month or so. Anyway.
But thank you all three for working on this.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All I'd say is I appreciate the enthusiasm, Josh. There's been years we had really cool events at the town hall, plus drama and stuff. So I appreciate the enthusiasm. So it definitely takes some drive there to make it happen, but I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to open it up real quick for public comments if there are any.
I just want to be clarified real quick. So,
Grab the mic.
so to my understanding, if the foundation's done by August, we get the contributions.
Yes, the work needs to be done by the end of August, and then there's some paperwork we've got to finish up. I don't know if I want to say this out loud. We technically have till the end of the year, but we know what snow can do here. If we get snow in October, we'd be in trouble. So I'm kind of pushing that we get it done by August so we can have some time to get the paperwork done. And the grant, if I recall, is right around $23,000 from the state.
So that'll pay for Todd and Phil's.
Yes, yes, yep. The grant takes care of
Thank you
that.
for taking care of all that.
You're welcome. All right, so I'll bring it back to the board. Go ahead, Jerry.
Are you ready for a motion?
Absolutely.
I move that we appoint Joshua Ackerman. Is it Joshua?
Yeah.
Technically,
Joshua
it is.
That's what
Ackerman.
it says in my motion.
Well, I will call you Joshua Ackerman to the position of Town Hall Commissioner. With our thanks.
This is Ed. I will second that. So we have a motion and a second. Bless you. To appoint Joshua Ackerman to the position of Town Hall Commissioner. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Item G, placement of donated playground equipment on town property. So Joshua, now I'm stuck on Joshua. Yes, we're going to get Josh a rotating hat, very similar to the one I think I've got coming. Because Josh has been our Parks and Rec Commissioner for a couple of years now and has received some playground equipment from a donation. And now the debate has been, okay, where do we place it? So I'm going to turn it over to Josh.
So as I mentioned, I think it was 2 meetings ago, we Crested View Elementary was doing a renovation of the playground. I contacted the maintenance director over at the school district, and we got some playground equipment donated to us by the town. And so it's been sitting over at a local town property, and we're trying to find a location. And again, it's not just for me to sit here and talk in front of you guys. We basically highlighted in this presentation some areas of town property that it could possibly go, given the footprint of the playground equipment. And again, This is the first option. The second option would be if we do not decide, or the board does not decide on the playground equipment, we could always donate it to our neighbors in Ohio City. Because they've reached out to me and they want to build a park. So again, this doesn't have to be a discussion or a fight. If we don't want to agree on a park location, my feet aren't buried in the sand. We can actually donate it to our neighbors. So anyways, Ed, you want to move forward? The presentation just goes over and everybody can read what it says on the board. But we basically went through the different town properties on the property assessor's site that might be possible locations that the playground equipment would fit within the footprint, and B, obviously it's town property. So the first one you're looking at here is the cemetery.
Can I have a question?
Yes,
What is
Jim?
the equipment? What's the nature of the equipment?
So we have about 4 or 5 pieces of equipment. 5 if you count the swing set. So we have 2 double swing sets. We have a big slide. We have and then we have 2 additional, I guess you could call them platforms with ladders. I can send everybody pictures. I think I presented it last time, but we have 5 pieces total.
Do you, off the top of your head, do you have the square down or know the square footage those 5 pieces would take?
I would say each one I would say is probably 10 by 10. If I had to make a guess. The swing set might be a little bit longer because it's a double swing set. It's 2 swings, so it's 4 swings total. But we have 5 units that can actually go. And the idea is that obviously if we pick a park location, we can always add equipment to it too in the future. We want to leave space for that. The stuff that we got was free. It was a donation.
So you're saying at least 500 square feet?
Correct.
Okay.
Where is this one?
So we're okay on the last one is cemetery. I don't know if we're gonna put park in the cemetery. But this, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Ed. You can go too.
Okay. So the next property is the property on, which is labeled as 395 Solzes Road. This is actually the property that goes up where the tower is and comes down into the property that was purchased for the septic system years ago. 7 acres, yeah.
And the one we would be cautious about this one is because, I mean, obviously we could take a look at it, but obviously if the town ever wanted to build a septic plant, we're kind of doing away with that if we built the park on it. And I'll hand the microphone to anybody if you guys want comments. And I think we go to the next one.
Okay.
This is the one right by Town Hall. Again, I don't know if it's got the space in the footprint. Also, you know, I don't know if anybody ever wants a playground equipment right next to the town hall. The other thing that we need to think about with the town hall, especially with events, is that the town hall eventually needs a septic tank and a drain field. And this would basically be the place that you would put it if you were gonna do that.
So the other thing I'll point out that I think you ought to look at as we go through the locations is where people might park as they bring kids to the playground. So parking, and then also as we go through some of these, I think looking at safety is a big issue as well. Okay.
And can you explain this one?
I can.
This is a sliver of.
So this is right off of 6th Street in Courts Lane. It is a small sliver of parts of the lots of 26 through 32. You basically would have a park in a real long, narrow location with no place to park.
And again, we'd have footprint problems. And again, some of these the reason why we're presenting it this way is because it's full transparency, right? This is all the town property that we could possibly put a park. So I just wanted to make sure it's clear. And I think we can go to the next.
How wide is that?
I think it's like 20
really
feet.
I want
wide
to say
enough
it's
in the
20 feet is all it is. It's not, it's a small sliver.
It's on the side of Quartz Lane?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this one is up off of River Street, actually probably where it turns into River Trail, between 7th and 9th Street. And it's a small sliver in there that is town property. My personal opinion, I don't think that'd be conducive for a park.
So clear up in the, what I call the corner.
Yes, yep.
Oh.
This one is interesting. It is along River Trail. The map actually says River Street there, but that is along River Trail. It's further up river where it turns into River Trail up in the trees up there. Again, my opinion of what needs to happen with that property is that's the width of property for the road. It needs to stay that way.
What are the cross streets in that?
Mesa Street is way up here. So you go up here to make the bend and it's Mesa Street way up there. This is
That's
really
also in the corner then, kind of.
Yeah, that is the corner. The previous property would be downstream from this area right here. Yes, yep. You want to talk to this one?
Yeah, so this is the current playground footprint. Unfortunately, with this one, we do not have the available space to put the equipment that we have. And as you can see, the equipment that we have over here on the north side of that picture is in good condition. There's no reason to tear any of that up. And then in front of this building, you have swing sets. And then the other issue that we have is on that south side, which would be, I guess, left side of the road if we're looking at it. That is the drain field for this building. So we can't, it's probably not advisable to put playground equipment when we have to put footers and stuff in the ground to put it in the drain field.
So that if anybody's in question where that area is, that it's the snowy area right next to the building, which is the Newcomb Center we're sitting on. That's the area right here between the swing set and the road. And we did determine from the OWTS drawing and stuff, that is where the septic field is. And the basketball court is this gray area. I keep moving my pointer thinking I'm pointing to it and I can't on this. A laser doesn't work on this TV. Tried it. So it's
the current playground is out.
Basically that property is out.
There wouldn't be any room for the new stuff.
I'm going to address this one so Josh doesn't have to. This property is owned by the town, but it splits the property of Fred and Alicia's property. And that is as a platted undeveloped street now.
Yeah, you got some grandkids.
Yeah.
If it's plotted as a street, it has to be a street.
Well, the street, where the playground is now is in a platted
I
street.
understand.
There's a maintenance right.
But
I get I know why you wouldn't want.
When she first changed, she said a street's a street. And when I interviewed her at the beginning, that's what she mentioned. So we would have to look into the law for that to make sure we're following the law.
I wouldn't disagree with you, but I know when Josh was talking to me about us, I'd like to identify all the town properties and then let the board just say, okay, these are out, these we might consider. Okay.
I do think we have to look at this property, but here's my thought. I'm all about safety, and I'm not real excited about the children running from one playground to the close proximity across busy Main Street if we put the new playground there. That's my biggest thing is I can see the kids wanting to run back and forth.
I'm concerned about them getting on our property and getting themselves hurt and us dealing with the liability. That is a huge concern.
Sure, it's only it shows it like it's a big rectangle, but that's really steep. The top half of it is very steep.
That is correct. It's only the forward half of it. And then it comes back to what I brought up before, parking concerns. Where are people gonna park there? They're gonna have to park on the side of Main Street. And Jared brought up the safety issues. So.
That's that nice green grass.
Yeah, it has beautiful green grass.
So thank you for doing that for years.
Yeah, actually, this is our #1 location. No, I'm just kidding. And you can move to the next.
Okay, all right. So this location is 6th Street. It's, 6th Street, I don't want to say north of Main, but up the mountain from Main Street. And it's probably not conducive to a park because it's all uphill.
Yeah.
It's called a mountain. And we can try to move mountains, but it's expensive. The other town property is 9th Street, where Candy's Memorial is. I absolutely am not in favor of putting a park there. That is already a memorial and it's already a park. I don't think we need to have children's equipment there, is my personal.
And the lower part of that property is creek and rugged.
Yes.
terrain.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And then, let me get my bearings straight where this one's at.
Yeah.
Oh, this is River Street, all the way from 1st up to 4th Street. The unfortunate part, and I'm not trying to steal from you, Josh.
No, go
The
ahead.
unfortunate part of that property is there's a beautiful creek that runs through the middle of it, which I think would be a big hazard for children playing. Because even at our current playground, I think we're pretty trusting in Pitkin, and parents let their kids go play on the playground. And it would scare me to have playground equipment down by the creek.
And they seem to gravitate towards water anyway. Jesse, you probably vouch for that in the ditch.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you meant Jesse. Gravitates.
No, my child gravitates towards it.
Okay, so I'm gonna move on. 1st Street, Riverside of Main Street. Should be River Space Side, not Riverside. So that is Armstrong Creek that comes through there to the pond. There's some area there of 1st Street, but I don't know at some point in time, and I'm thinking ahead for the town, I don't know at some point in time if 1st Street might be opened up from Main Street to State. I don't know. But that could be a possibility. So I don't know if we want to put playground equipment.
And the other thing is we would have to put up a fence to prevent kids from going into the creek.
That's true. Because that line, to the top side of the green line, the dark green is the ditch or the Armstrong, and then there's a pond at the end of it. So that would could be a safety concern. And then the last one is what's considered Old Main Street. So where that rectangle is where the old Main Street was platted, but Main Street was put up above. And then
Is that the Kahanics?
that is the Kahanics house that would be the south side or the bottom side of the rectangle.
It's only like 15 feet wide. It's 30 feet wide with a fire ditch running along the edge of it.
So those are the town property locations. Josh, you want to?
No, it's up for the town to decide. Obviously, the board and the people in the town. I mean, it's playground equipment that we got donated. We had some citizens in the town that were nice enough to pick it up. I mean, personally, I guess, I have kids, so I would like another playground in town, but again, it's up to the people. I mean, again, the other option would be is if we can't decide at a location, is we can always donate it to Ohio City. Because again, I'm not presenting this to divide people. We can always donate if need be.
Is this all of your plats that you've located?
Yes. It is.
I know there's one more.
Well, that wouldn't surprise me, but.
Top of State Street, across from the current Chad and Starling. There's a triangle there.
Oh.
In front of Wicks and the old Parker place.
Yeah.
And again, it's at the top end of town and parking, although it's a 80-foot wide right of way right there, but there'd have to be massive changing of ditches and stuff.
And that's right, where it's awfully busy coming into town.
Heavily traffic coming into town.
And it
Two
is
other
not-
places too. There's First Street, across from the one you already showed, between Susie's Storage and Bill and Todd's Storage.
Yeah.
But I don't
Okay.
think Main Street coming into town is a safe place for this. And then 7th Street, between State and the alley. Going towards Main Street. And that's just a block from where the playground is now.
And there has been several requests on that 7th Street that the town opened that up as well.
From
access.
the alley to State.
Yes. Yep. Pete, you got the microphone.
Yes, when this was talked about a couple months ago, I think the primary location was considered to be this one right here, but I think for obvious reasons, it's really not big enough. And I made the comment at that time that I thought, and which you dismissed, that the location of Candy's Park would be an appropriate place for a playground, parking there. It's often a heavily traveled street. But otherwise, I think there's not a really good location other than that. So that's my opinion.
All right. Thank you, Pete. Pete, pass the mic up to Marie.
Well, I'm kind of looking at the big picture. When we have kids here in town, a lot of these are tourist kids. And we, other than June and July and maybe some of September, the only kids we have are the ones that go into town to go to school. So why do we need another playground? It's not a big question. We already have swings, we have this whole other area. The parents can sit and watch them if they want, they can drive real close by, they can park real close by. And just because something is available, doesn't necessarily mean we need another one. I'm thinking about up there on River Street. Are the parents gonna go up there, drop their kids off and go somewhere else, go do something else? Of course not. And so I'm sorry, but I'm looking at the availability for the kids and the number of kids that would be here, would be sitting still the rest of the time. I would say Ohio City needs it worse than we do.
I think Ms. Ross Miller has a good idea. I think that a playground would look better than skeletons.
Ohio City, they got skeletons.
Yeah. I missed that at first, but
I thought you were talking about putting it in the cemetery.
Yeah. All right. Get it on, Jake? Go ahead.
Hello?
We got you.
Yeah, so this came up in conversations to me, I don't know, it's been a year ago. And this location was talked about. And I even offered to allow the town to do a free lease or donate property. That's where the train depot sits. And to where their footprint would be big enough. And I think I sent Ed
You
a
texted.
copy of a lease or deed change, however the town would want to do it, so that there would be plenty of room at that footprint. We have a lot of kids that show up at the Moose and at the train depot now, so it would, give them one more thing. But, that would be an option. And anyway, if the town decides they want to do that, I threw that out there, I don't know, a year ago or so.
Thank you, Jake. Any other comments, questions?
Would you say like 500 square feet?
Yes, minimum.
How many square feet is
Yeah.
the room here?
How many square feet is, I still didn't hear you.
How many square feet is this room here?
Square feet.
Probably 50, yeah.
Is 500 square.
I know that, but how much is
It's
in
right
this
here.
room? Yeah, probably.
25, this is a lot more than 500.
Yeah,
I'd say it's about the area of this rafter up to the wall.
it is the 500 square feet.
Yeah. Now, you're not taking into consideration any parking or anything like
That's
this,
correct.
but just the actual.
I'm just saying somewhere over here, put something 500. If you got 3 of the best items, what's it do?
Any other comments?
No, Ramon just asked me to state about the current park, and I don't have a statistics or a counter, but from what I've seen, and especially during the summer months, the park's used all the time.
You can hear about their.
Yeah, and I think, even in the spring and the fall, like kids are out there playing.
Is it overcrowded though? I have never walked through there and thought, oh my gosh, there's so many kids.
No, I wouldn't say it's overcrowded.
And the thing is that if there's 2 places, then parents would have to go back or, where are you going? Which part? And you could see that the kids would be confused too. So
If
I
we
think
own,
it's good that it's one park right now.
if we own vacant lots between the basketball goal and Pete Sparks' property, that'd be the cat's meow. We don't, and they wouldn't even price it.
But again, you guys, if we can't decide on something, we can always go the donation route. But I think we've made some cases for some different properties, so it just basically comes up to the town, do we want another park or we don't?
But also it's not an all or nothing.
Correct.
Maybe you put 1 or 2 pieces, maybe it's not an all or nothing. Maybe you put 1 or 2 pieces over here in this strip. Something that we don't already have. I don't know. You said it's 2 swings, a slide. Is it a big slide?
I just don't think
Metal
anything,
slide.
I don't think anything in this footprint would fit, that we have, but we could always try.
Well, we gotta remember Pitkin's days and the spinning of the seeds and that, all that.
Got to have space for that, which we usually do in the lane or the alley.
Do another alley.
Yeah,
That's,
you're right.
so I see it as a board. We have one of 3 directions we can go. We could allow the Parks and Rec Commissioner to make the decision on his or her own. We as a board could decide where to put it, or we as a board could decide maybe it's best to go to Ohio City. I think that's our 3 options. We're already into the end of July, so and I don't know how much use we're going to see out of any of this playground equipment yet this year. Jake did send me a draft of a potential easement agreement, as long as the equipment is there, where he would give up some of his property to put it there on this street. But I think there's I'm concerned there might be some safety concerns here, particularly when we've been asked to look at putting stop signs up at Main and 2nd Street because of the foot traffic coming across and the speed of people coming through. So I think that's what we have to That's our three decisions we can make.
I'll just be blunt, I'm in favor of donating to Ohio City. So I think there's plenty of cases made for every spot why it's not a good fit. And I know some of the property owners that are neighboring to these proposed locations have already expressed concern that they don't want it, so I don't know that it's worth creating any division or creating any issues. I appreciate all the hard work, I appreciate people going to get it, but it also benefits our neighbor donating to Ohio City. And if Josh can probably tell you, there's quite a few kids down there now too, he picks up on the school bus, so I'll just be blunt, I'm in favor of donating. Don't create any other headaches, don't create hard feelings.
Go ahead, Jerry.
I had a question for Josh. Our existing playground that was so wonderfully put together by retrieved from Crested Butte how many years ago, how is that all in good, as far as I can tell, it's in good shape, but I'm asking, it passes inspections from CIRSA, and is it in good shape, what we have?
It is, yeah, and I had an inspection last year in a company that certifies playground sense, and they gave us like a 10-page document that had a few minor things to address. But yeah, they said it was in good working order and fit within our insurance parameters. So.
Well, I'm all for the kids and would love to see some more playground equipment, but I don't see a viable option myself. And Ohio City has a real, I mean, one nice thing about it is we'd be good to our neighbor because Ohio City has a birthing boom. And I mean, they have so many young children and they have pregnant wives and they are growing, so they'll be thrilled. So I would certainly lean in that direction. And thank you, Josh, for procuring that. And for the volunteers, I don't know who went to get it, but it sounds to me like yay for Ohio City.
That is a good point. I'm curious, well, neither here nor there, but I bet Josh will tell you if there's more kids in Pitkin or Ohio City now, but who would ever guess that 10 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Right. I think there's more in Ohio City, full time, for sure.
I bet there are, so.
And a lot of preschoolers and a couple of pregnant women.
I think not to beat a dead horse here, but I think it'd benefit our neighbors down valley, doesn't create hard feelings in town, so that's my opinion.
Do you need a motion?
I do.
I would make a motion that the town of Pitkin offers to gift the existing playground equipment that was procured from Crested Butte to Ohio City. I'm not sure does it go to the QCIA or
I think it's
the county owns that ground now?
I think it goes to the association in Ohio City.
QCIA
Owns the schoolhouse.
Yeah, because they want to put it by the schoolhouse.
Correct.
Yeah, that's my motion.
I'll second that motion.
All right, so we've got a motion and a second to gift the playground to Ohio City. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. So Josh will check into the contact down there. See when they would like that. I believe the equipment is still on Gibbs's property, which I know he's wanting to get that off of his property as well. All right. We're getting there. I promise. All right. Item H, placement of four-way stop signs at 2nd Street and Main Street. And the board has, and the town has received a letter from Jake and Robin expressing concern about the traffic coming in and leaving town on Main Street, and some of it with the speed going through rather fast going out, probably more so than actually coming in, and has requested that we look at putting a four-way stop sign at least temporarily at 2nd and Main Street. And in addition to that, as I drove around, I also noticed there's a lot of people that traverse across Main Street at 4th Street as well, from the hotel to the parking lot. So I'm also thinking we need to look at what we might do to at least slow people down on Main Street at both Second Street and Fourth Street. One of those could be to place stop signs on State Street, excuse me, not State Street, Main Street, and then on either on Second Street as well as Fourth Street. We did check with the county. It is totally in our realm of the town to place stop signs there, provided they meet the DOT specification. But there might be also some other alternatives as well. So I'll stop there and see if there's any discussion, at least from the board, and then open it up for some comments. No comments up here. Questions?
I'd rather hear from the public, to be honest.
Okay. Jared, you have anything you want to say first?
I'll listen.
Okay. So I'll go ahead and throw out another idea that came up to me, not that I came up with, it came to me. And that is possibly placing speed bumps on Main Street temporarily for the summer months. If I would say between between First Street and the depot by the parking lot there. My recommendation would be, from what we've seen with I want to say rumble strips, but not rumble strips. Yeah, what we've seen in the past with 9th Street, when we've only put it on one lane or one side, it caused people just to go around it into the other lane. So I would recommend we go ahead and put a strip completely across Main Street for coming and going traffic. Maybe at First Street after Second Street, so they start slowing down before they get, say, to Stumbling Moose. And then at Fourth Street, prior to Fourth Street, maybe right after Third Street, and right before or right after Fifth Street if you're coming down, to try to have people slow down on the rumble strips or the speed bumps rather than putting stop signs up. It's an idea I'm throwing out there. I don't know. I think maybe Jesse might have got some pricing for stop signs. I tried to do a little bit of research this morning on speed bumps, and getting 30-foot speed bumps is not as cheap as you would think they are. They run about, what I found for a 4-foot section that interlocks is about $300 per 4-foot section. So if you look across the road for each one of those, I think we're looking at easily $1,000 for each strip to put down. Now I'm gonna add a little bit to it because of, what scares me on speed bumps is, one, we know we can't put them down permanently. They'd be permanent until November, the first time the snowplow comes through. Then they'd be removed. So we have to put them down temporarily. What we don't want to do is put spikes or stakes or bolts into the middle of Main Street. Because when we pull them out for the winter, we will have potholes the size most cars will fit in by the spring. So we don't want to anchor them in the middle. So we need to go clear across so we can anchor them on the sides. So just some things that I thought about that I just thought we'd throw out there. So that's my thoughts at this point of one or the other. I'm going to open it up now to some public comments. I'm sure we're going to have plenty, but let's definitely use the mic.
In Aurora, where we live.
I can't hear you,
Close.
Marie.
There you go.
I don't know if it turned on.
Oh, I don't think it's on.
This one lit up for a second and then went out. Is that a battery thing?
It is.
Check.
Checking. Am I on? Yeah.
I've got two now.
Yeah. You give me a third.
In Aurora, where we live, speed bumps are showing up everywhere. And a lot of us aren't very happy because we're obeying, but I'm sure there's a reason for all that speeding. That's what I would recommend if you're gonna do that which is a big help for me when I'm thinking of something else and all of a sudden there it is is to see a sign along the road that says speed bump and an arrow, like a warning. And that way you don't get up in the air somewhere before you land because you're hit it. So I would recommend
Okay.
that.
All right, thank you, Marie. Let's go back to Pete.
Yeah, before you get too far down the road on stop signs, I think you need to consult with your town attorney. CRS 42-4-104, that's SEEK. Colorado statute requires that any municipality contemplating street signage follow the MUTCD manual with uniform traffic control devices. And it gets into what's called warrants to establish that warrants justify stop signs. There has to be an engineering study completed, compliant with MUTCD. So it's a pretty involved process. So that's just something I think you need to become aware of as you move forward. That would apply to 4th Street or any other side street that you might do that. And from my reading, which is minimal, this thing of warrants, there are certain criteria set up in this manual, and it's unlikely, given the traffic volumes in Pitkin, that they would warrant or justify stop signs. And again, I think that your town attorney may need to provide a little background on that, but it is something that needs to be concerning to the town.
Pete, can you give me that number again?
Yeah, it's 42-4-104. And for future reference, I apologize for just bringing this up tonight. When I come up with some information based upon my background that might be helpful as it relates to a town agenda item, would you prefer I provide it to you in advance of the meeting or just during?
I would personally, I would prefer if you have it in advance of the meeting.
Okay,
and
well,
provide
I'll try
it
to
so
do
we
that in
can.
the future. I just looked at this afternoon.
And that's fair.
So, and I'm no expert, but I do think it's something that needs to be reviewed.
Pete, I have a question, and just for everybody, does that include temporary signs too, or is that just permanent? Or do they
That
delineate?
would be something that the attorney would have to weigh in on. Sarson may have something to say about all this speed bumps, et cetera, too, so.
So before I go any further, I did ask Hillary if this was within the town's authority to do this. Hillary, you want to expound on any of that, or?
I believe what I said, Mayor, and I will say it again, is that it is within the town's authority, but it would have to comply with the MUTCD, which is the manual on uniform traffic control devices, and that the contractor that the town hired would probably be aware of what those MUTCD requirements are. I can certainly look them up, but I am not conversant in them. So the town is aware that any traffic control devices do need to comply with the MUTCD. How we get there is yet to be determined.
Okay, thank you. All right, any other questions? Fred, oh, Alicia. It's on.
Okay, my big okay, we talked about this, when Eddie was mayor. And the big concern was, some of these guys are gonna have a lot of fun.
I'm having a hard time hearing.
Can't hear.
Sorry.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yep,
Yeah.
there you go.
Okay.
Gotta be on it.
Yeah.
You're gonna like kiss it.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so a lot of these people really like their ATVs and they wanna see how far they might go off the ground. And those speed bumps might be considered more of a jump. A jump?
A sport.
A sport? But I don't know. I mean, I'll slow down for it. I'm not gonna hurt my car. But that's, I don't know. I don't know if we've had, I mean, they go around it now. I don't know. It's just something to think about.
Okay.
My thought, this is Fred, we used to live close to a school in Littleton, and they had and I think they have it in Denison too, there by the park. You can press a button and it'll stop you or else give you a yield type of deal. Like if people are going out of the hotel or the Moose or whatever, they can press the button and they can get right away to go across the street without worrying about the car, looking 3 ways before they get hit by a car.
Okay.
This is Starlene. I don't think it's the adults that we're worried about. I think it's the children that are playing in the ditch with the little ducks or the little boats or whatever. That's what I think is the concern.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, so definitely witnessed a lot of speeding through there, and I would agree. Even if someone's doing 25 miles an hour, I think it's too fast at times. And if you guys aren't concerned about the kids in town and whether they get hit by a car or not, I'm making sure that as the Stumbling Moose and the depot, I have tried everything I can to protect the kids. And I can't just go put a stop sign up or put speed bumps up. I think Pete may have researched it some, but through some very quick looking, I think that's overinflated and it's easier than he suggests for an incorporated town in the state of Colorado to put a stop sign up. And, I brought this issue up well over a year ago. I feel like it's been almost 2 years ago. And I was told that it was Colorado DOT that would regulate and determine whether a stop sign was needed. So I went to them. They told me it was the county. So I went to the county. And the county told me if it was outside of the city limits, then it would be their responsibility. But the town has full control of what they do or with their signage. Now, that being said, the town can't just go and paint a stop sign on a piece of wood. It has to be a DOT approved stop sign. But the town can determine where they need signage and what type of signage. But at the end of the day, as the Stumbling Moose and the depot, I am concerned about the safety of the kids, and I want that on record in the minutes. And if the town chooses not to do something about it, if something were to happen, then it needs to be clear why nothing was ever done.
One thing I think the town should seriously consider, and I've thought this for quite a few years, particularly looking at your financial resources available, I believe that it would be beneficial for the town to approach the sheriff's office accompanied by a checkbook and see what might be done in the way of purchasing equipment for the sheriff or paying overtime or something along those lines to work out a contractual arrangement whereby the sheriff would be able to spend X hours per week, obviously mostly in the summer months, and have some active enforcement and finally bring some control to what occurs in Pitkin. Because every summer, this issue comes up, dating back to Steve Pinkston when I first came to town when he was mayor. And every year it's talked about, and oh, well, the sheriff doesn't have any jurisdiction. Well, I'm sure there's some contractual arrangement that can be developed whereby the sheriff could perhaps, do something. And I think that the town has a pretty solid bank account right now, and it might be worth $15,000 or $20,000 a year. And in my experience, when you enforce laws and it becomes common knowledge that they're enforced, and you have an item on the next agenda item related to that, it gets people's attention. And I can assure you that the fellow from Texas, no offense to Texans, or from Kansas, who's here, comes zipping through Pitkin and gets stopped by the sheriff's office, is given a citation and said, well, here's the fine, it's $175, or you can come back in 6 weeks and go to, Gunnison District Court and contest it. If the word gets out, and I'm sure some of the business people maybe aren't too excited about harassing visitors, but, and as you've often pointed out every time this is discussed, it's not just the tourists, it's other people too. Well, I will tell you that I make it a point every time I go through Ohio City to slow down to 25 miles an hour. And if we expect that of them and other people, we should do that for Ohio City. But anyway, that's just my opinion. I think that there's an opportunity very potentially there to work with the sheriff's office.
So I will address a little bit what you said, Pete. I think as most of you know, I met with our Gunnison County Fire Department, our fire chief, and the sheriff's office about 6 weeks ago, talking about a wildfire evacuation plan. In that conversation, I also asked Sheriff Adam Murdy, what's the likelihood of getting some deputies up to Pitkin? And he says, when we have availability, we'd be more than happy to do that. A question was asked of me last week that, man, we haven't seen a deputy in quite a while. Well, I don't know if everybody's aware, but it is the sheriff's office that calls the pre-evacuations and the evacuation for wildfires. The sheriff office has the sheriff himself and 7 deputies. And I talked to Adam last week, and he says, Ed, we are trying to take care of wildfires, and until that's under control, you're probably not going to see a lot of visits from our office up there. Doesn't mean they're not coming, because there was a deputy up here last week. I'm trying to figure my days out. Last week. So I do know that he's cognizant of it, and he's trying to send deputies up. And I think, Pete, you bring up a good point. I think the conversation has now been opened up with him, and we could possibly have more deputies up here to help enforce with the speed limit signs and the stop signs and so forth. I will also say that even within the last week, I've experienced and seen a number of side-by-side ATV four-wheeler riders, some of them pretty young. And I've seen a number of our people in town address not only the kids, but the parents. But this is our town, and we expect you as your parents to watch the kids and to slow them down. I was shocked after a couple of those conversations went on and saw the kids coming through town. I say kids, they're 16, 17, 18 years old, coming through town at maybe 5 miles an hour. So even us as citizens talking to people about, hey, can you slow it down just a little bit, goes a long way, not just relying upon law enforcement. So just, I agree with what Pete's saying, but I just want to understand what the sheriff's department is under right now as well. Okay.
With all my rentals, this is Cindy. With all our rentals, I do talk to the parents and try to talk in front of the kids, explaining our speed limits. And I also had to go down and give reminders to the parents. So, I mean, I don't mind doing it. That's just part of my job.
Thank you.
You do a good job of it too.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to Jesse.
Yeah, you asked me to do some research.
Oh, I did.
Up the road.
Yes. Yes.
And I addressed Mark at the county, and he said they have no jurisdiction when they hit city limits. One thing he reminded me about is stop signs. Where is the crosswalk? And he referred to the Stubborn Moose, anything within a block across the main street. He referred to the hotel, anything within a half a block across the main street. He said a stop sign and crosswalk is after the sign. It's not jaywalking prior to the sign. So there is some problems there. And this is not a summertime event only. This is year round. If you want to sit on the porch with me, I can watch your local people, me, all my own friends. We rarely stop. We sometimes slow down for those 2 stop signs, but we don't stop. And Brad and I put up a speed radar sign when we got that mobile unit, and it happened to be coming into town. And we turned it around and put it on the other side of the town, of the street, Main Street. We sat on the porch of there and drank a beer, and one of our prominent people went by 40 mile an hour, headed out of town right there in front of where Lisa's Stonequist's dad's place is. We got to look in the mirror. And I prefer a speed bump that we can take up in the winter, and that way we can put it in the middle of Main Street between 4th and 3rd, and we can put it below the depot. And I would like to see the same things put across the stop signs where I painted white at the Silver Plume at 9th and State Street. Yes, it's some money. But we can take it up in the winter. Snowplow people from the county have told us speed bumps and snowplows, they're not going to do it. So we were not able to get gravel on this spring ahead of our road graders and mag chloride. So my street budget has a little extra money in it that we're not using this year. I'm not a politician, but I'd like to do it. I vote from the street commissioner's position that we get 4 speed bump that reach clear across the pavement. Because I watched them go around the speed bumps when they were temporarily down there on 9th Street. That's my input. Oh, the stop sign is anywhere from $45 to $186. No posts, no clamping.
How much is a speed bump?
Yeah,
So the little bit of research that I did this afternoon, and I'm telling you it was short. I looked at a couple different websites. These are interlocking. They're 12-inch wide speed bumps, 1 inch high. They're interlocking, so they would lock together. They're 46 inches, 46 and a half inches. Those are $300 a piece. So if you're looking going across the road, we need to go how many feet?
I'm saying 40 foot.
40
to get off the pavement. Now up at the plume, those are eating in.
Yeah, those are
might
winning.
do that.
So just for simplicity,
10
let's say 10 times. So that'd be looking at $3,000 for each one. So
on the edge.
you'd have to secure them on the edge, and they do have holes in them where you can pin them on the edge. And that's the key, is we can't pin them in the middle. So, Jake.
Yeah, I'd have had multiple people tell me that speed bumps could be considered, but I agree that side by sides, I don't think they're going to slow down that much. I also don't necessarily believe that every person is going to stop for a 5-second count at a stop sign, just like they don't do at the stop signs we have now.
Correct.
But they will slow down to 5 miles or less, more than likely. And that's a huge improvement. And I would hope that as a town, we would appreciate our kids enough to not be so opposed to some stop signs slowing us down by, I don't know, what, 2 minutes, 30 seconds more to get to Gunnison, and help ensure that our kids are safe versus, doing 25, 30 miles through there. I mean, if stop signs are not the answer, let's get rid of the 2 we have in town then. I mean, I don't understand the opposition to stop signs, because I feel like the safety is the priority and a huge concern for kids.
Where is the crosswalk, for example, from the hotel to the new venue?
I don't know. Do you have crosswalks over there in front of the plume?
Well,
what I'm telling the people, what I was told at the county, that when you put up a stop sign, the crosswalk is after the stop sign. And I see jaywalking all over Main Street. And how do you get from the hotel to the?
That's fine. If we're gonna get tied down by, this type of a scenario and allow some kids to get hit, so be it, I guess. I mean, it's not on me. I think there's a solution, and we can work through some of these other concerns. And if you guys feel like we need to talk directly to the Department of Transportation again, we can do that as well. And our attorney.
So you're thinking stop signs are better than speed bumps, is that what you're saying?
I would definitely say a stop sign would be better.
Do you think we should follow the law?
You can follow the law at 25 miles an hour and a kid still gets hit.
Do you think the town should follow the laws that apply to the town of Pitkin?
They are.
I mean, I think
They
we
are.
should look up what the statutes are, but I
Ask
think,
the town attorney, she just stated it.
yeah, well, I think we should look it up and make sure that we have the right kind of stop sign. And if we can put in a crosswalk, we put in a crosswalk.
So Linda Cole, just a comment. I mean, I agree. Stop signs help slow people down, but I also see, this is just my personal experience, so I'm not, is that when you identify, people put those silly signs, kids at play, little flag. I see more people slow down for that kind of thing, or a flashing yellow light. I see more people respect that, if you will, or start looking around like, why is there something here? You know what I'm saying? Like some identification that there's people, or especially kids. So I'm not saying no stop sign. I'm saying maybe that's not even enough. In my opinion, we need to alert the traffic that there's cross traffic there. Like there's a deer crossing, there's a whatever, you know what I'm saying? I think it needs to be more than just a single sign, is my opinion. Or even start with something, whatever. I'm just thinking it's not just a stop sign.
And I'll add my thoughts on that a little bit. Is that if we decide to go with stop signs, I say we paint crosswalks on the road, just like Jesse just painted the stripes at 9th Street. Because I know last year, just watching 9th and State Street, I saw more people stop at the stop sign with the white lines there than when they're not there, because it's more noticeable. So, I mean, I would just say if we consider or we decide to go with stop signs, I think we paint crosswalks. And the paint's $100 a gallon. I mean, it's not outrageous to paint some crosswalks there and get people to notice it. But that's just my thoughts if we decide to do stop signs.
I'd like our attorney to weigh in on what Pete shared with them.
Well, so she can weigh back in if she'd like. She did, in the email that I sent her, I asked her about the stop signs, and she did say the town has authority to it. What she said before, the signage needs to comply with the MUTCD, the manual or uniform traffic control devices, which is recognized as a state and federal standard. So as far as the 42-4-04, I don't know that she's had an opportunity to look that up at this point. So I think we're done with the discussion. I'll bring it back up to the board. Or what are your thoughts, or what direction should we go?
Yeah, safety is my bottom line, health and safety. And so I'm not opposed to putting in stop signs. We just have to do it the correct way. And I'm sure Sursa would maybe weigh in because of liability and, all those sorts of things. But I'm ready to do something. I don't know about if we need force, on one corner, but the traffic coming into town, it amazes me. They still go that fast past the moose when there's so much at the beginning of town now. But yes.
I was gonna say, there's not a lack of concern for children's safety. I've heard Jake say that several times. There's no lack of concern for safety. I think just figuring out the right solution for there. is what matters. And I'm at the store every day. There's probably everybody in this room runs that stop sign. I've seen at least everybody here, maybe a couple, but you know,
And
stop sign may not be the solution, is all I'm saying.
And my contention is a stop sign is a law.
Yep.
Where stop signs are not put up just to slow people down. You're expected to stop at that stop sign. You can get a ticket for it.
Yep.
It's the law. So I think if we're putting up the stop signs, I think everybody has to understand the expectation is you're not just going to slow down and roll through it. The expectation is you're going to stop at the stop sign and come to a stop and then proceed after it's safe. It is the law, and I think we should expect people to obey the law if we're going to put something like that up. So I do agree. There's a number of people in town and a lot of people from out of town that roll through the 9th Street stop sign. So there again, I think we as citizens can inform people what the law is. People know what the law is. They just need to be reminded.
Can I share an experience after the 4th of July?
Sure. If it's quick.
A deputy came to town the 5th of July.
You get the.
Yep, Mike, so we can hear it.
Please identify yourself.
Jesse James, am I on? Yeah, a deputy came to town the 5th of July, and we had 6 visitors with pickups and trailers parked the wrong way on the wrong side of the street. And he said, I probably should write those tickets, but I don't have the time for it. And I don't want to run people off and come back to Pitkin. So I took it on myself, like a little note to put on the windshield wipers. And now I've done it with 10 of them. And 10 of those people have thanked me and turned their trucks and trailers around and parked them on the right side of the street. It's not our visitors, it's a total problem. If I get my point across. I'm looking in the mirror and 3 fingers pointing back at me when I point to somebody. But anyway, I've been encouraged by their reception of what the deputy told me that he could do, but he didn't have the time for it.
All right, thank you, Jesse. So where do we want to go? What do we want to do?
I'm ready to go ahead and, if we need, you know what, if it doesn't work or there's something comes up, but I would be ready. Certainly we have to do it right, according to CERSIS, according to the law, but post haste. Let's get with it.
So are you say you're in favor of the stop signs or
Yes,
the?
well, in the crosswalk, do it how it's supposed to be done for the best effect. And if we find out, hey, it's not working, or hey, we don't need it, or we can do something later, but that's my.
But you're.
I don't think 4 at each of those, at the hotel intersection and the second.
Second,
fourth.
both sides of Second Street and both sides of Main Street.
No, I just think we need them up and down Main
Up and down
Street.
Main.
I don't-
So what
I
you're
don't know if
allowing,
we need stuff.
what you're technically allowing is
Oh, actually,
someone from Second Street to come right across without ever stopping.
Yes, so that probably doesn't make sense either. But let's do something.
But you're saying stop signs over speed bumps.
Yes, I'm thinking, especially as many razors as we have in town, I don't know that the speed bumps would help.
I'm not sure.
That's just what I wonder.
I'm not sure with the speed bumps going all the way across. If they're pinned on the end, if they're going to stay, I do not want to put them in the middle of, I don't want to stake those in the middle of the road because that's just going to create asphalt problems.
Yeah, I'm more of the opinion of speed bumps and stop signs, but that's just my feeling. But I just sent a thing in to see if there's a more cost-effective option
For
speed bumps.
For speed bumps?
Yeah.
I'm saying the little bit of research I did, that may have been way high. I don't know.
Try speed bumps, and that's several $1,000s, but try that and see if that doesn't work, go right to stop signs. Give it a timeline.
But I guess I don't know how, I'm not sure how we can do this. I'd like for us to make a decision on an either or. If the stop signs, or excuse me, if the speed bump is gonna be 3,000 feet, is gonna be $12,000, $15,000, put speed bumps in, then we look at stop signs, or if we can find in a relatively short time, like within the next week, that speed bumps can be much less, then maybe go with that option. I am not in favor of putting this off any longer than we have to. Because
Yes.
I think we need to do something to slow people down. So, ideas.
Like I said, I submitted some just now, just to see if there's some better options, because I think if you get the longer, wider flat ones, they don't move.
Okay.
Not flat, but you know what I mean, the ones that aren't just abrupt, that are,
Right.
that are 1 foot wide, they're less likely to move, so.
Right.
See what I get at, but I'm just in favor of that, because I think it accomplishes the goal without making somebody roll through a stop sign. Like I said, I've seen plenty of people do it. And I remember this conversation a few years ago about all those people running the stop sign, and the person complaining about it got pulled over.
That was the first one.
Roll through the stop sign. So don't think it won't happen to you.
So the speed bumps apparently are quite a bit more expensive than the stop
They're
signs.
absolutely way more expensive, at least what I saw. But I mean, with a little bit of research, we might find something considerably less. So I guess what I'm talking out loud. I think maybe we look at if speed bumps under, say, $7,000 or $8,000, we go ahead and get those. And if they're going to be more than that, then we proceed with the stop sign. Because the price that Jesse gave us on the stop sign, I'll say $200 for a stop sign. We still have to buy a post. We still have to figure out, it's temporary, how are we going to put it in?
The location is a problem.
We got to we've got to identify the location. We still have to, we've got to do some other research to make sure we don't have to do further studies to make sure we can put them in. That's going to take just a little bit of time. I think within a week or so we can have that.
I'd offer to pay for the stop signs.
We for sure need to research from some input from like Sarsa and Hillary, making sure this is done right, because if something did happen, and you sure have to have your
ducks in a row. Right.
You have to look at where you're gonna store the speed bumps in the winter. Who's gonna pull them up every year?
We were talking about, so let's try to put it, we were talking about doing walkways, and we can't do walkways unless we have stop signs, correct?
You can have, I believe, I mean, I would ask for some legal advice on this, but I think you can do crosswalks without stop signs.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, Gunnison has the crosswalks with the red orange flag that you pick up and walk across.
Okay, well, maybe we should
So-
at least put, what do you call them, crosswalks? Let's get those paid. What is it? You said $100 per can. Can't we
Yeah.
get that going at least?
That-
And then,
Jake, why don't you put a bunch of signs up, say, drive like your kids are here.
We did that for 2 years and it didn't really do much.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, you guys don't even remember. They were up there for 2 years. So.
oh, I know.
That's sitting up there on the porch, you sit there and watching people come up and stop sign. What the problem is, I think, there's 150 things they're looking at. They're looking at the store, they're looking at all the machines, they're looking to see if they know the people on the board, way down. You could put a stop sign there the size of a semi-trailer, they ain't gonna see them stop. Because they're concentrating on everything else to look at. It's kind of the same thing down the booth. You're coming into town, you're looking at all the new stuff. Man, they've changed a lot of things here, There's a lot of things going on. If they just roll through, they don't even think about a stop sign, I don't know. hopefully it would help to put one there, but I think that's the biggest problem thing, like when they're going through them, they're just not paying attention, you know? It's exactly what you see wash up the store. I mean, they're just looking at all the people and waving at people. And, you know, when I roll up there, I get hit in the ribs about 14 times a week, you know, stop. It's like you're looking at the porch, see you look at the porch, you know?
So I look at storage of either speed bumps or stop signs. If we're doing temporary stop signs, we're probably gonna have to put those in some kind of planters or where we can remove them, say with a forklift or something. Very similar to what we do with the speed limit sign. We've got to figure out where we're gonna store those as well. So I don't know if you can look at storage any way you want. I think we as a board, we need to decide, do we want to proceed either or? We need to make a move. It's 10 o'clock. We've got the number of items we've got to address yet. So.
Like I said, my opinion, I think speed bumps are going to slow people down more than the stop sign, but.
You're gonna have to put signs up for them so to warn people are speed bumps?
It'd be a new event down there. Everybody sit down and watch people hit the speed bump at 30 miles an hour. Be good entertainment.
Put signs up to work.
The other ones I was looking at have all the reflective stuff on, but that's a good point. So I don't know. I could go either way. I just, my opinion, speed bumps, but this doesn't need to drag out.
Yeah, I'm ready to go. Let's just try stop sign. My opinion is, I think it's safer to go with stop signs, and we can decide for them to be temporary, maybe. I'm depending on CERC, depending on our legal counsel, but let's do it.
Okay, so I'm gonna paraphrase and I'm gonna give some thoughts again. So Jerry, you're saying on the stop signs, 4 stop signs that we would do at 2nd Street in Maine and then 4 at 4th Street in Maine. Before we do that, we do have to verify with CERSA, and then I would like to have Hillary verify that on this 42-4-104, if there's any requirements there before we do that. I don't know if we are going to have to hire this out to install the signs to make sure that we meet all those requirements, or if we could do that ourselves.
I don't know, but for sure the crosswalk needs to be done, and there'll be parameters, protocol. I know there must be a lot of stuff that line up with.
Okay, so we've got to follow some things in order then. We need to get feedback from CERSA. We'll get feedback from Hillary on this 42-4-104, and if we could install the signs ourselves, or if we have to use an outside company to install them. I know we can get them. I think we can get them through the county, it sounds like. But we'd also paint the crosswalks as well. Is that what we're looking at?
That's my opinion.
Speed bumps might be more money, which sure sounds like a heck of a lot less work. And you can only throw them on Main Street. You don't have to throw anything on 2nd. So
won't argue that.
Devil's advocate there.
I know.
You can still try speed bumps, and we can.
I know, but it's
see
a lot
if
of
that
cost.
works. But if it doesn't work, then we go to stop signs, or if we decide to do this.
Let's just figure out what we need.
Yes,
It's 10 o'clock. Let's figure out what our attorney finds out, and then we can make a decision from there. And I'll let you know what I find out on different types of speed bumps and cost, and hopefully we can get something done.
My only hesitation is if
I
we
know.
don't decide something tonight, then we're putting.
It's August, and it happens in September, and then in the fall, and it doesn't matter.
Right.
Well, I would not be opposed to having a special meeting if that's what we have to do to clear this up. It's quick, special meeting, sometime to get it done.
You only have to have 48-hour posting, don't you?
Yeah,
for special
24. But yeah, we could do a special meeting on it to decide after we get some more information. But I'd like to have the information within the next week if we can.
Yeah, that's fine.
To move on. So Hillary, do you understand what I'm asking from you?
I do. And I
Okay.
can get you answers, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I don't know that we need to set a special meeting tonight, but we know that we want to try to do it. It absolutely needs to happen before the end of July, so within the next 7 to 10 days, if we need to do one. But we can get information from our legal counsel. Stacy, could you email Sursa?
Absolutely.
And ask them their issues? And then we'll have some information back, hopefully within the next couple of days, and figure out for sure which way we need to go. At this point, I don't know if we need to make a motion and vote on all that, or we're just outlining what we need to do.
Yeah, I don't think there's an action item yet.
Okay, I think everybody has their point they're gonna work on within the next week, and then we'll get back, reconvene on that. All right, I know it's getting late. We'd have a couple more items though that we must discuss. The first one is an OWTS violation appeal. And then also with that, this is for the Board of Health, is the outstanding OWTS inspections due by September 15th. So the first is OWTS violation appeal. There's actually put appeals in case there was on a second one. There's only been one request. And that request has been, or that appeal has been, that we levied a OWTS violation fine back in our last meeting from June 1st through June 15th for $50 a day for not having an OWTS system inspected. It was supposed to have been done back in September 15th of last year. And the board did grant until June 1st of this year to have the system inspected, of which it was not. So a fine was levied on June 15th for 15 days at $50 per day violation. And since then, the property owner has had the inspection done. I believe on July 26th is when the inspection was done. So Rand Mikowski has asked for an appeal for the fine on that OWTS violation. So I'll let Rand, if he'd like to speak about his appeal or his request.
Yeah.
It's the first time a fine has ever been done to Pitkin. And there's a lot of other fines that could be enforced in Pitkin, and they're not done. I got it done because I just didn't want to hassle with it anymore. But I'd like to see the fine revoked, please.
All right, thank you, Rand. So there are a lot of ordinances that we have on the books. And there is one in particular that is mandated by the state of Colorado, and that is the OWTS violation. And this could have been handled real easily last year if the inspection was done prior to September 15th or from September 15th through June 1st. So that's all I'm going to say on that for right now. Yes, Susie.
Sorry. I just want to okay. I want to say that through the years, Rand Mikowski has been a person who will do anything for anyone, and on his behalf, I would love to see that forgiven. That's a lot of money. And that's what I want to say. He is a person through all the years I've lived here. And I think we lived here at the same time. He is so good about helping other people, even if it's not fun at all. I mean, he will come forward, help us out. That's all.
Thank you, Susan. Any other questions or comments from the board?
Could we have our,
I don't know, that anything to add, and I think there's a process we have to follow on appeals.
I'd like to hear some legal advice, if possible.
Well, I don't like to legally advise in open session. I did send you guys an email ahead of time with my advice. So I would just ask you to refer to that.
Thank you.
So there is a very distinct appeals process that's by state statute. And that appeal would need to be followed. However, if Mr. Mikowski would be willing to negotiate on the entire fee, which would be 25 days of the fine, and in exchange, a statement that he would not pursue the appeal, then we could possibly do that. That would waive the right to the hearing. Otherwise, the only thing we'll do tonight is to set the appeal hearing, and then proceed with the process in the Colorado State statute. I would make a proposal to Rand that, given the importance of OWTS, I don't believe that the entire fine or fee can be waived. But the fee as it stands today is at $1,250. But I think we could reduce it to the amount where it was of the notice of the violation, which would be $750. That would be paid within the next 30 days. And then he would have to waive his right to the hearing, to an appeal hearing, in order to do that. Otherwise, we follow the state statute that's already laid out by the state.
Now, why has the fine been brought up higher?
The fine is $50 per day as per the ordinance, $50 per day until the system is inspected. And your inspection was dated July 26th, so the fine would cease. I'm sorry, June 25th. Sorry, thank you. So the fine accrues $50 a day until it was inspected, and your inspection date is June 26th. So that's 25 days at $50 per day as per the ordinance.
And if I appeal it, does it keep accumulating?
No, the fine is for $50 per day until it was inspected.
I want to appeal it then, because there's a lot of other fines you guys could install, and you
So,
haven't done.
so then inspections, any inspections, we just don't bother with them, right? Because we can get it forgiven if we're a good Pitkin citizen, or should we follow what the statutes are?
You want to install the statutes on all the other ones?
We should.
Okay. So we have a number, like I said before, we have a number of ordinances in this town. And there are violations for the different ordinances. And there is distinct OWTS ordinance with the violation. And it doesn't matter if you follow one, you follow all, or you follow individual ones.
There's a camping ordinance, you never put a fine on anybody.
And that camping ordinance has nothing to do with your OWTS
It
violation.
doesn't, but you don't enforce it. That's what I wrote my letter about.
Okay. So what you're saying is you want to appeal it as per CRS 25-10-113-3.
Yes.
Then I would recommend that you look that state statute up and you follow that appeal process. And we will
I'll
set.
just pay the fine. Don't ever ask me to help this town do anything. 31 years I put in this town.
Unfortunately, the OWTS ordinance is a very important ordinance to not only to the town, but to the state. And we will enforce it. So I'm sorry.
We've had this conversation. So fair is fair. If I have to go get mine inspected, you have to get yours inspected, everybody else should have to get theirs inspected too. It's only fair that everybody in this town, when you get a certified letter twice, you write a letter back saying you will not comply, these are the results. Very simple. So just so everybody understands, there was 2 certified letters and the response was, I will not get it done. And how's that fair to anybody else sitting in this room? It's not. And that's great. You can be a good citizen. I appreciate that. I appreciate people wanting to help each other, but it doesn't give you an excuse to just not follow the ordinance when everybody else is held to the same standard. That's all I have to say.
All right. So, yes.
I would just like to add that we're a statutory town. We're a caring town. And I really believe that this town, this council, if there was extenuating circumstances, like horrible illness, terminal illness, deaths in the family, and people in this town, we are workable. We would make concessions when we can, but this is Reg 43, we're a statutory town. And I don't believe that we can, and I am so thankful for the 31 years that he has given. Believe me, I've seen lots of wonderful things that Rand has done. I'm not taking away from that. But you can't just, this is environmental health. This is safety. We have to abide by the statutes. We have to abide by the ordinances. And there's a process. And belligerence is not a reason to. I'm sorry.
Okay.
You know what? Can I say this? If I
Use that mic.
may be totally.
Use a mic, please.
This may be totally wrong, but I think I am going to leave. I'm afraid someone might come back mad. Who knows what he'll have with him.
Well, all I'll say is that maybe we take up a collection for him, separate from anything the town's doing here, but if he can't afford to get an inspection and pay a fine, I'll donate $50 to him. I'll start there.
All right, I'm going to move on to the OWTS inspections due by September 15th. I'm not putting the list up there of the addresses that are due. There is a list at the post office of all of the addresses that inspections were due. That was a courtesy list that Joshua put up at the post office. But I would remind your neighbors, if you see their address on there, that they need to get their inspection done. I believe we're around 30 that still need to be completed by September 15th. So that's all I want to say on that. All right, so moving on to updates, planning, discussion. Everybody is pretty well aware that last month we had a list of 18 individuals or 18 properties that had private property on town property, encroachments that included vehicles, trailers, a number of different things. So I'm just going to show you that list tonight. Out of 18 of those items, or 18 of those addresses, 17 of them with a letter and a request to take care of your items on private property is taken care of. We have one that still has not done anything with his private property on town property. And as a board, we will need to decide what we need to do. But I'll ask a simple question. Is it fair for everybody in town or for 17 people to remove their private property off of town property, but yet one refuses to do it? So Ramon, if you'd like to address the board, I'd be more than willing to let you speak for a little bit.
I don't know who just came to the door, but could we lock it?
Let one of you men do that. I was about to too, Star, and then I saw them and I was like, y'all can take care of that.
Someone just passed by.
It-
I have
it
no idea.
shouldn't-
I have no idea who. I don't know.
Mayor, we shouldn't, the meeting site can't be locked. It's a public meeting. If you have concerns about safety, you'll need to recess.
Okay.
Thank you, Hillary.
So I'll bring it to the board. You want to, you got two items. One's going to be fairly quick. Do we want to continue, or because of safety, the way one individual wants to act?
Oh, it's stop. She's back here.
Okay. So
Let's go. I mean, let's proceed.
okay. All right, Ramon, go ahead.
Right, I'm gonna only address a little bit of this letter because there's a threat of legal action in it, and I'll deal with that whenever you decide what you want to do. But I can tell you there are a few mistakes in this letter. The big one is that I don't have any private property on town property. Therefore, I'm not going to comply with this letter because it's meaningless in the way that it's worded. I will tell you that there are other places with private property on town property with the permission of the town. I think you should know about them. If you don't, I can tell you that there's one on 10th Street, one on 4th Street, probably more. If the town wants to discuss this with me, I'd be happy to look at the same type of conditions that were put on those. But you've got to stop and realize, just because you've been here, what, 20 years? A lot of things have been done over the past that are not necessarily illegal when they were done or now. And if you can't face that, then maybe you should have your attorney talk to me and we can discuss it and work it out. So that's about all I have to say at this point. And you can move forward with it or not. It's up to you.
All right, thank you, Ramon. Hillary, I'm going to look to you and ask for advice on the direction you think we possibly should take.
And again, I advise the board by email. I don't typically like to advise legally in open session. So there are a couple options that the board has for how to move forward.
So
I'd like to pursue legal advice from our attorney on what avenues there are. I guess don't understand how it's not private property, but there wasn't much detail there, so I don't understand how a propane tank is not private property, but I'd be interested to hear the details, and I'd be interested to hear what our attorney has to say for legal avenues.
Yeah, and we can certainly schedule that as an executive session with the board. If you have follow-up questions, you can email me directly.
Okay, so here's what I would recommend. I would recommend we table this until we can get further legal counsel. Maybe if you have some questions for Hillary, we can send those to her specific. I know I've got a couple. And then I know there's another option we could possibly take from the email that she did send to us. So that's what I would recommend, I guess, doing.
We need a motion for that?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. All right. So we'll seek further legal advice and look at our avenues to take care of the situation. Unfortunately, there's an easy solution, but Mr. Reed didn't want to discuss it with me today. So, all right. So then I'm going to move to item 3-B. And that is where we stand on the audit status, Stacey.
Well, Mayor, since our last meeting, I was just a few days away from having all the documents. And I'm still in basically the same position. It's been a series of unfortunate events. I was sick for a week. I was gone unexpectedly for a week, and then the laptop's been down. So we're gonna have to do the extension, unfortunately. And I sent an email this afternoon before I returned the laptop, and I haven't heard back from John Cutler and Associates, but yeah, I was so determined at the last meeting. I was listening to the minutes and I was like, I will not let it go to an extension. And then I did. Yeah, I have.
So do we don't know where the accounting firm is on the audit?
They are still waiting for me to complete the list of documents that they're waiting for. So they are nowhere on it yet. They're waiting on me. And I couldn't apologize more. It's not how I like to do things, but sometimes things don't go the way you want them to. But we'll still get it. It's just gonna have to be extended.
So, okay, so I need you to do the extension with the state to get that started tomorrow.
Yes.
This is due June 31st. So we need to get started on that extension so we don't run out of time.
Yeah, I mentioned that in the email this afternoon. Okay. So we'll see what they say when they email me back tomorrow. I believe that they will take care of all of that for us with the state, but I will triple check. And if I do emails or anything, I will include you so that you can be part of it. Absolutely.
Please.
And again, I apologize. I hate extensions, but I'm also grateful for them in this scenario.
All right. I'm going to move on to, we received several reports. I'm not going to go through all those reports, but I'm going to give a real brief mayor's report, especially since we are. But as many of you know, we held the wildfire preparedness workshop back on July 29th. I will June 29th. Here we go again. I'm saying July. It is June, and I even wrote down July. June 29th. I will tell you that the two fellows that were here from the Wildfire Mitigation Organization were super impressed that we had over 120 plus people from Pitkin at their meeting. Received an email back from Lisa from the Gunnison County Emergency Services, and she was almost in disbelief how many people showed up. But I know in talking to Eric, I've talked to Eric a couple of times, he felt that the meeting was very well received and the attendance was very good. I think it brought a lot of attention to everybody about everything that's going on right now in the area with all the wildfires going on, which started after that meeting for our area for the Gold Creek and the Elk Fire. But they are very involved in that, very working on it really hard. One thing I did see, if you haven't downloaded that Watch Duty app, it really kind of lays out how they've done the pre-evacuation, the ready, set, go for those areas. And the same thing would apply to us, to Pitkin. So along that note, Corey and I think Jerry and I had talked about after that meeting, it would be nice to know from that organization, from Eric, if they could do an assessment for the town, for the property that's owned by the town, including along River Street. So I did go ahead and entered into the website the town information, and Eric is scheduled to come out July 29th at 1 o'clock. So we can walk through town and he can give us some ideas on town property as to what we might need to do for wildfire mitigation. He's also in town 29th and 30th with some people in the area that also put in their request for the assessment as well, even some up in the property. So I know he's got 2 more dates planned in August that he's coming back to the area. So very encouraged by that. Other than that, the only thing that I have for the mayor's report is that after giving it much thought of me as the mayor being on the board of trustee and as the mayor and also on the zoning board, which I was perfectly fine with as long as we only had one board of trustee on the zoning board. As you know, tonight we appointed Josh Ackerman. He's on the zoning board already. We appointed him to the town hall commissioner. We also appointed him to the board of trustee position. Therefore, we'd have 2 board of trustees on the zoning board and then on the board of trustees as well. So after giving it much thought, the time that it takes as mayor, I don't think people understand until you sit in this seat and you try to do the job right. But as of tonight, I'm going to resign from the zoning board of adjustment. That will open up another position, particularly if there's someone that wants to sit on the board of trustees, ought to be on the zoning board. It's a good place to start. So I'm going to open that seat up. I don't think anybody really knew about that other than I might have informed Corey and Jara earlier today that I was going to do that. So the reasoning behind that is I don't think it's good to have 2 board of trustees on the zoning board because it really impacts the appeal process of the 2 boards. So that's all I have on the mayor's report. I will tell you, I've thoroughly enjoyed being on the zoning board. Enjoyed being the chairman for a while, and I've enjoyed helping Jesse out as a chairman as well. So,
And I appreciate it.
And I'm not going anywhere, so I'm still here. I'll help you out. So with that, that's all I have on the mayor's report. Stacy, do you have anything on town clerk?
No, nothing else.
All right. So there was the building inspector report. I know Levi's not here, Rachel's not here, but I really like the report that he's sending, showing us exactly where the building permits are in town. And I know we got a zoning board, we got a street report and a ditches report and a cemetery report. And then Josh has sent the environmental health tracking spreadsheet for us as well. With that, I don't have anything else. Sorry, it's 10:30. Anything else? All right. I would entertain a motion to
This is
adjourn.
Sharon. I send
That's quick. We've got a motion and a second to adjourn at, boy, 10:32. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your patience. Oh, Hillary's gone.